All right. Let's see if that worked out just fine. I learned a new OBS trick today. Apparently, you can disable the microphone source and the desktop audio source, and then add them manually to each scene as a source. So you don't have to, if there's a scene like the pre-stream scene, you don't have to have the mic and desktop audio on that scene. So I don't have to mute those two audio devices when I'm on that scene. So now I switch to this scene, and I guess y'all can hear me.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that, Henry Clark. That's that's right. DuckTales is the MLiG Discord's the Discord what are words?
Club game.
The Game Club game of the month. I wasn't even thinking of that when I put this on today.
Look how shiny my head is. It's practically blinding.
You've definitely got a bit of a blown out spot on the top of it. But that's what being bald's all about, right?
What's that?
That's what being bald is all about.
That's exactly what it's all about. Let's see if I can fix it. It's getting there.
I mean,
Might be this one. I guess. I don't know.
It's fine.
I don't need to waste anybody's time. I can just do it on my own here.
So earlier today, I saw that John and Audie were doing a Digital Foundry stream with a bunch of PS2 launch games.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if they're thinking on doing that. I only tuned in for a little bit because I was editing Analog Frontiers, but I'm not sure if the idea to do PS2 launch games was at all brought on by the fact that we are about to have, new,
on the cusp.
Yeah, new generation consoles launching this coming week. But that kind of got me thinking about what I wanted to stream tonight. I was like, maybe I could stream some launch game from some system. But then I thought, well, why not do that, but play a game that is going to be a launch game for the new systems, except it's a remake. So
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not playing. I am looking forward to seeing how it should be played.
Well, I mean, this is a a pretty old PS3 game. I mean, this was still released in the Spider-Man logo era.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's got the little red 3 on the spine. So, I mean, it's not...
Right.
I didn't buy it right when it came out, but I was definitely interested. And I want to say, it was maybe a little difficult to get for a while because I think it was, really catching on. And I think I got, the next printing or something like that. So, I was surprised that you were surprised that I had this and had played it before. I've been on board with Demon's Souls, from before Dark Souls. So, but I will say, that this one is, I remember when Dark Souls first came out, that brought it to the Xbox 360 audience in a way that, this game, since it was Sony first party published, couldn't. And I think Dark Souls immediately had a lot of popularity because Demon's Souls was already kind of known to be really, really good.
Right.
But something I noticed at the time was the hardcore Demon's Souls players, which I loved the game, but I would not consider myself one of the hardcore players, you know, one of the people that played, you know, New Game Plus 20 times and, you know, got good. You know, I want to say I played it twice. I think I played it twice. But you know, I liked Dark Souls more because I liked the more, you know, forgive the term, Metroidvania-esque, world design. I liked sort of the interconnectedness of
more
it.
level based.
This is kind of, it's more of like kind of a level select in a way.
I see. I remember there being like chapters or something. It's like 4-1, 4-2, stuff like that.
Oh, so you have played a little of this?
No, I mean, I just remember people talking about it back in the day.
Yeah, I don't think they're I don't think they're really numbered that way, but like there's like, you know, an area that you get access to first, second, third, and then there's like I don't know, like 3 or so tiers of bosses within those levels that you have to find all of the bosses, and you can kind of do them in whatever order after you unlock each level. Like if you feel like you're making good progress in level 3, but you're kind of stuck in level 2, you can push deeper into level 3 if you want.
Right.
But the levels are a little interconnected. Like late in the game, I want to say that you can find like a shortcut back to, you know, level 1 or 2 or something like that. But it's not as interconnected as Dark Souls, which is what I really like about it. And, you know, something that people did when Dark Souls 2 came out was they made these maps of like how the world fits together that just kind of showed the genius. I'm sure if you Google it, you could find some pictures, but people made these maps that showed like how the whole world fit together. And it was just so logical and looked so beautiful in Demon Souls 1. And then people made these maps which Demon Souls 2 was not directed by Miyazaki. And it's like just all strewn all over the place, makes absolutely no sense how it all fits together. Dark Souls 2's world is a mess. But anyway, let's get into it. If I was playing the game for real, like I just kind of wanted a refresher because it's been, you know, probably around a decade since I played this game. I would not make a character that looks as ugly as this, which is what I put on the thumbnail.
It's funny. Like I like that you made a funny looking character. Some people really get into it. My friend Justin, he played through the entire Mass Effect trilogy with a character that was like hilarious looking.
Yeah, I think you showed me that.
Like he had like a super small mouth.
I feel like, you know what this guy makes me think of? He makes me think of like a treasure character, like Silhouette Mirage or something like that. I can see that. With like the big noses and stuff.
I just see him going, hello.
Yeah, now I'm laughing at him and saying he's barking at it. But like I wouldn't do this if I would. Like, I mean, the reality is you're almost
you can't stand to play as a character who doesn't like look cool.
I mean, the reality is, I mean, this game doesn't have a good character creator to begin with, and I remember seeing when
it's kind of like the Joker, basically.
Yeah, kind of, I guess. But I not long ago, we got to see pictures of like what the character creator looked like in the remake, and some people were kind of disappointed that you know, like the characters actually looked good. So I don't know if you can like push the sliders to like the absolute extremes, but yes, I know, Sandy, it's funny. But anyway, yeah, it's been like a decade since I played this, and I have not played a Souls style game since Dark Souls 3 came out. So I have not played Sekiro yet.
Right.
Which it looks like I was smart to wait until next gen for Sekiro anyway, based on the Digital Foundry findings.
Yeah. We had a $2 donation for love of the game. Thank you. It says, potion seller, I need only your strongest potions. I assume that has something to do with this game. I don't know.
Probably. I can't quite remember.
There's also a comment earlier from GameSack saying Demon Souls on PS5 that doesn't have ray tracing, 2 out of 10 would not play. It's like an SNES game without mode 7 or reverb. What's even the point?
Wait. What?
I think he's talking about the PS5 version not having ray tracing.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah, it's just joking.
Yeah.
Brave soul.
What's even the point?
Fears not death.
Look at me.
And there's also a comment.
I shall guide you.
If I would ever think about doing an episode on flashcards, like more generic flashcards, and I mean it's something that I would consider if I accumulated enough of them. Like one way or another, I couldn't see myself like going out and like buying a bunch. And I'm kind of flashcarded out for a little while. I can't believe it was as long as it was, but I'm happy to be done with it. And now I'm working on more of a smaller videos on the mode and the MVSX before I get into attempting to do a Mister episode, and if Mister is going to take me longer, I'm going to do a setup tour. Finally, for an updated setup tour. One way or another, like that setup tour video is coming out is coming out this year.
Are you aware of the whole like get caught on your feet thing of these games, like the ragdolls?
No, I mean it's very like the ragdolls are very apparent for this generation.
Yeah, but like it's just so funny that they get stuck on your feet. I mean, it's definitely one of those things that's like on the surface it's kind of a bad thing, but like
what's that thing on the ground back
it's
there?
some of the charm. Like I don't even know if that's going to happen in the remake. Like if it doesn't, that's probably going to get people really upset. What thing on the ground?
There's something glowing on
the ground.
ground.
Those are the messages. So I decided to play the tutorial area just because like it's been so long since I played it. But like this is what player messages look like as well. Of course, their player messages are constructed from like pre-made things. Right. But you know, I don't think the servers are up anymore. I mean, it was pushed back again and again and again and again for years. Like the servers were being threatened to close down for a long time, and I guess they finally shut down because the game could not connect to the internet. When
there was a $2 Canadian donation from Donovan Stewart saying, "Boy is still a better looking Joker than Jared Leto." I mean, I don't know what kind of he doesn't have any tattoos on his face. It's too bad you can't have a damaged tattoo on your forehead in this.
You know, I saw there was like a relatively I'm aware of like the Joker, the Killing Joke like comic, like is one of the famous Batman storylines.
That's where Robin dies. He gets crowbarred to death.
Well, I saw on that Netflix had a like in the style of like the Batman the animated series with like Mark Hamill and what's his name, Conroy or whatever. That was like it was based on that. I thought it was kind of terrible.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I haven't seen it. I
did not think it was good.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, apparently Super J Man liked it. I did not care for it. But I was not terribly familiar with the source material either. But like it was so weird because it's like got much more, you know, quote unquote mature themes than like the animated series would have had, but it's like in the style of the animated series. So it felt like, to me, it felt like this weird fan fiction of the animated series where, you know, they're trying to, you know, make it like mature, you know, but it felt very out of place to me. I did not care for it, and like it's got this whole like first half that really does nothing but set up Batgirl as a character, and like the whole storyline of that portion has no bearing on the actual like main plot. So like the first 30-ish minutes is nothing but a character introduction, basically, with like its own completely separate plot. It feels like two unrelated episodes of a show just like put together. I was not impressed. But
Tony Goldman with $5. He says, "Yeah, they added a needless Batgirl relationship and musical sequence, like a musical sequence, like singing and dancing."
I don't remember anything like that. But I mean, you know, I don't know much about what Batgirl and Batman do together in like the comics or any other material. To be honest, like my knowledge.
Comic was just like a one-off. It was like a graphic novel.
Yeah, I mean, my knowledge of Batgirl, you know, is mostly like related to like Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, which, you know, she's Oracle at that time.
Right. Oh yeah, because she's like paralyzed.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, so I don't know anything else, but like Batgirl and Batman like definitely do a thing in it, which
that's kind of weird.
It was pretty weird.
Like, yeah,
especially when you consider this is done the style.
Like there's a pretty big age gap. I mean, I always assumed that she was like around the same age as Robin, but maybe not. I don't know. Not that it really matters, I guess. Like when they're the age that they are. But
yeah, I mean, it's so weird because, like I say, it's like done in the style of the animated series, which was, you know, a show that we watched like when we were, you know, in middle school and high school or whatever, you know, and like
it just feels wrong for the style because
exactly it feels. That's why I say it feels like a fan fiction where, you know, it's just like, oh, you know, do you ship Batgirl and Batman? Like it felt really weird to me.
All right.
So this is pretty clearly the area that was in the in that first gameplay trailer. It's just the tutorial area, basically.
Like, here you are. Are you happy? Like everyone can see you. You want to wave? This is the difference. Is starting at 8 o'clock. That means the kids aren't asleep. You can wave. Just wave at the camera real quick.
I think a lot of people were really worried that in the gameplay trailer, the character was like dispatching everyone with one hit.
Yeah.
And you know, that was clearly done for just pure efficiency reasons.
I just they can show a bunch more. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't have any real interest at all in even playing the remake. In kind of a weird situation, like I was like definitely not getting anything for Next Generation, like, but then I have a friend who, kind of like in a like he was nervous that if he put in pre-orders, like certain ones wouldn't ship, so he ordered like one extra of each from like different places. And it turns out that everything is shipping. So he's like, are you interested? And I said, I guess so. So I think I'm gonna end up getting both systems.
Oh, okay. Well,
I had not planned on it, but it was.
Is he changing the shipping address to your house?
No. I'll just go to his house and get it.
Well, I actually went ahead and made the thumbnails while I was making the thumbnail for this stream. We're planning to on Tuesday and Thursday do unboxing,
right,
setup and
everything.
First impression streams, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you are definitely going to do that.
Yeah, I just don't know what time yet because.
Well, it doesn't just when it arrives.
Yeah, basically.
That's what it is. I mean, I'm excited to see that, and then whenever my friend gets his in, then I'll just like go and grab it each day too.
Is Half Moon Grass? Is that? Okay, that is.
I set up. I kind of rearranged some of my shelves so that I could put them up there. I was planning on putting them horizontally, but I realized that I have just enough space to put them vertically. I guess the only thing I worry about is that they're gonna be pretty close to the ceiling. But that shouldn't have anything to do. Shouldn't do anything, right?
I mean, heat rises, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Xbox Series X is a ton shorter.
Right. I mean, I just decided I really hate the design of the PS5, but I thought, at this point, maybe I'll get a Slim at some point.
I mean, I
Pro,
like it because. I mean, I worry about heat a lot, so the bigger it is, the more room there is for the heat to dissipate,
Yeah, but I mean, it's just going to go up and it's just going to go. I'm more worried about like dust getting in there at the top. But I mean, like, they are obviously well prepared to deal with that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, the PS5 even
the PS5 has those like little
area
places where you can actually open it up and suck all the dust out.
Yeah,
that it collects.
It's got like a little catcher for the dust. It's
I mean, there's
awesome.
literally from the ceiling, there's gonna be like 5 inches between the top of it and the ceiling.
I don't know. I would put it horizontal personally, if in your situation.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where it fits. I mean, I have like a perfect space for the two of them to be vertical. I'm not worried about it. It seems as though they have been the amount of cooling the heat rises, but the way the PS5 is set up is to like push all the heat out the back of it. It actually doesn't suck it in on the sides and push it out the back.
Oops.
Someone asked what are the chances you die on the first boss? Did you die?
Yeah. Yep. I didn't even get around him. Now I remember it. Aren't you kind of expected to die on the first boss? And then you go back later. Then it's like, oh, I kicked his butt. I forgot about that. Because there's an option to skip the whole opening anyway. Oh yeah, this was also in that trailer. This, the same angles and everything.
But I mean, I think that's the way that it's set up is to pull heat or pull air in from the sides and push it out the back.
Man, I'm really struck by how close, how closely the remake, based on what we've seen, follows these cinematics, even though I never thought about the cinematics and these games being, you know, something to mimic exactly.
See, Chris Cactorian is saying it should be fine. The PS5 draws more power and generates more heat than a PS4 Pro, but the cooling is massive and should be okay. Yeah, I mean, if people can put it, listen, the way that I've seen people put it, like the way that John has his in his entertainment center, there's like no space on the sides, basically, on the sides of it, which is what will be close to and he has his horizontal. So that's where the air would be going in or going. It's just like being on the, like close to the ceiling. Then the same thing. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm not worried about it.
So in this, like, see,
if it dies in 10 years, then it dies in 10 years.
I mean,
then I can get whatever is the better version of that same system.
See,
in 10 years.
Normally, in like the Dark Souls game, like, see, I'm dead right now. You can just tell by the glow around me. You know, you take a soul form, but in Dark Souls, like, you actually look like a corpse when you're dead. So like you know, unless you're alive, which is not all that often, you know, the character you created almost always looks like a corpse.
Well, you slipped through the fissure too, did you? You came for demon souls?
Someone was asking, up to what generation do you consider something retro? And that's an interesting question because, I mean, if going by years and by like all means, the PS3 and 360 would be retro at this point. But I mean, I kind of feel like anything pre-HD is retro in my eyes right now.
Right. I mean, for the context of Analog Frontiers, I kind of consider it anything that has analog output. You know, just because that kind of connects to the retro technology. You know.
There's $2 from Ben Brody asking, why is this stream so early? We announced it 2 weeks ago that we moved the streams an hour earlier each week. So it's from 8 to like around 11-ish Eastern time.
My wife and daughter fell victim to the demons. But I would be worthless in battle. At the very least, I hope to lend my assistance to the brave slayers.
I'll have you know that Prince of Persia for PS2 was HD. Oh, did it have a 720p mode? I mean, I don't really consider that like in the same way.
Yeah.
If they are primarily, I mean, I could say, oh, well, maybe I'll just consider it for systems they have HDMI output. But even the first version of the 360 didn't have HDMI output either. But then I guess that begs the question: is Wii retro and the 360 is not, even though the Wii came out after the 360, like a good amount of time after the 360, like over a year later.
In trade, give you weapons or forge ones.
And I don't really have an answer. It's just like it has to be fluid. I think that it's complicated enough that
not a bad deal.
There's not a right answer for it right now. I just look at something that's HD and I don't feel that it's
I can tell
that it's retro. But I mean, I guess game like some people are saying, Game Blues is saying 20 years is retro. So that doesn't mean that the Xbox and the GameCube aren't retro until next year.
Yeah. See, I consider.
I mean, I could kind of get behind that.
I consider that generation to be retro. I mean, they definitely marked a shift toward what is modern, but see, this is how this one works. See, there's, this is the hub area. And actually, do I have enough souls to? Is she even here?
Yeah, Voltaire's got a good point. It says the Wii is based off technology that was developed in the 90s, whereas the 360 and PS3 aren't.
That is true. You know, something that I read not that long ago. I forget where it might have. Don't. If this was not Digital Foundry, don't quote me on this. But because it may have been Digital Foundry, it might not have been. I read somewhere where it said that the Wii U CPU was actually kind of an extension of the, you know, what was engineered for the GameCube, just like the Wii was, which I guess makes sense.
PC? Isn't it Power PC? Is that
No, that's I don't know if it could be related, but I thought Power PC was what was Xbox 360. But anyway, you just see the.
Kevin LC says, "Who cares what is retro or not?" Seriously, mainly just because we were talking about it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the main reason. I mean, I don't think anybody has. There's no definitive.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like, oh, hard line. Before this line, I'm playing it. After this line, I'm not. I'm just, you know, what has that feeling? It's just, you know, an interesting thing to think about, I guess. But I mean, you know, this, like, honestly, for a 2009 720p game, like, it's, I don't think it's that bad looking.
Yeah, this is the dragon that shoots the fire down the bridge, right?
Probably. I mean, gosh, it's been so long since I played this. I'm pretty sure I played it twice before Dark Souls came out, but I don't think I played it after that. Oops.
But like I just don't think that there's a real answer for what is retro. So I could say 20 years. I could say like the generation before the last.
I mean, the generation before the last is. Like, I mean that you know that's.
So that would mean that the 360 and PS3 are just about to become retro.
Right. I mean, the immediately ended generation is always like kind of the least interesting, I think. You know, like the PS3, you know, I played a ton of PS3 during this generation, but it's just like it's just not at all interesting right now, you know? But every once in a while, I feel a small twinge of something like nostalgia.
For the PS3?
For the PS3, and, you know, even though I didn't have a 360 at the time. Like, I'm just saying every once in a while. Most of the time, no. But every once in a while, it's like, yeah, I could go for a PS3 tier game.
See, I almost never feel like that. I mean, the only time I guess I would feel that really is with, like, say, Uncharted 2.
Well, sure.
But even stuff that, most of the, like, the really, really good stuff has been re-released as it is. But, I don't know. I played a lot of games during this generation.
Oh, yeah.
Long, but I feel almost nothing for it.
I mean, I was way more active this generation than I was this past one. I mean, through no fault of this most recent generation, but I just, you know, I haven't had as much time to invest in it. But like, I mean, this was an important generation for me because I feel like it was when I was finally like, okay, like I kind of appreciate like Sony. Like before it was just kind of like, huh?
That's crazy. It took you that long.
Well, I mean, it's just that like there was always this, man, I wish I didn't have to own these non-Nintendo systems. That was just my attitude for a long time. And I think when I finally bought the PS3, it was just kind of this acceptance of like, you know what, like I can't live without it. I can't live without having some
theoretically
of these
you
other
could live with it. It's not like you're gonna die.
I know, but saying no
but, I
to
mean,
like
but you were considering going Wii only that generation, and you would have died.
I might have.
I cannot think of a worse way to spend 2006 to 2013.
I mean, the Wii.
Like if you played games a lot and be like a Wii only.
Yeah, I mean,
person in their 20s.
I mean, that was Drum.
At the time.
Drum was that basically.
I mean, that's crazy to me.
Although he did end up with a PS2 at some point, not through his own actions though.
Right, but he played a lot of. I mean, that's
yeah, I mean, it was mostly. I don't know if he was playing much PC at that time, but I mean, the Wii is a great system. Don't get me wrong, but it would be hard to survive only on the Wii, especially when stuff like. I know a lot of people consider that a down generation for a lot of these series, but, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Metal Gear, I was very, very invested in those. And it's unthinkable, really, to think that I was at one point, like, trying to tell myself I was okay with not playing the next Resident Evil, the next Final Fantasy, etc. This generation was definitely a big comeback for Resident Evil. Although I will always profess my love for Resident Evil 5. I think it's a fantastic game. Resident Evil 6 is actually a pretty interesting game. It's actually got some good game design that it does not communicate clearly to the player. No, it is not really a horror game, and a lot of its interface is kind of a mess, but once you learn to play the game in the ways that it doesn't clearly telegraph to you, it's actually really good.
I've only played it through it once, but I wanted to play it on the PS4. What I'm hoping doesn't happen is like a lot of these ports of PS3 games that got ported to the PS4 and the Xbox One and everything. I hope that a lot of these developers just don't like re-release those, because I feel like they're just going to they're just going to re-release them all again.
I mean,
hardware with like not a lot of with really no real upgrades. But it's just like easy for them to do it.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing more of those, especially considering the PS3. I mean, the Mass Effect remastered or whatever was just now. I mean, that's like neat. Although it's if you really think about it, it's not really needed for Xbox players because you can already play it.
Well,
but I'm sure they're going to have it sounded like they're going to have like updated assets and shaders and stuff. So
well, that's different. What I mean is like I hope we don't get like another version of Resident Evil. I mean, Resident Evil 4. I'm sure they'll.
Oh well, I mean, we already know that's happening. I mean, that's basically confirmed.
Like, how can they? Would it even be worth the effort for them to do it, especially with the backwards compatibility with the PS4 version?
Well, I mean.
They're remaking Resident Evil 4, but I'm talking about like porting once again the original Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't think that's I doubt
6.
That's going to happen because there's already a version that is playable on both
And that's what I think is
consoles.
going to be interesting. Is like a lot of developers are going to be forced to release new games instead of just, because they're not all in this situation where we have this new system that is not backwards compatible with any version that we've released previously.
Right, but
Really quick, there was a $4.99 donation from Eric Schussler.
thank you.
Thank you. He says this generation was important because it was the kick in the pants Japan needed. We're currently experiencing a renaissance of Japan game design, and I totally agree.
I agree. Yes, the generation right here. You know, obviously this is a Japan developed game, and you know, I think I wonder if From Software kind of benefited from Japan struggling early in this generation, and they, you know, I don't know if it's right to say they were ahead of the curve. I mean, obviously From Software's technology has always been a little, how to put it? You know, it's got its jank, but it's solid all the same. You know, but Japan was like clearly, I think, not ready for the HD generation. Their technology and workflows were just not ready for it, and the West was ready for it.
Yeah.
And for me, like Western developed games, like really attracted my interest much more than they ever had that generation. But it is. Right now, Japan, I think, is doing all the most interesting stuff, to be quite honest. And it's been that way for a good number of years now, I think. So it's really nice to see that again.
There's also $2 Canadian from Jeffrey Smith saying, have you ever played Resident Evil Revelations in co-op?
In
Coop.
You mean, Revelations 2?
No, the first one.
Wait, can you do the first Revelations in co-op?
I think so. Probably the console version has co-op, I bet.
I mean, I've only played through the game on 3DS, but I do have the PS4 version as well. I mean...
Okay, Revelations 2.
Yeah, I actually... I played a little bit of the last chapter and a half or something with you when you were near finishing it.
So people are saying that I'm, that you are much louder than me.
Oh.
I know you turned me down.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably just talking a lot louder now that the stream has actually started.
I mean, I can turn mine up. Would that be easier for you to?
Yeah, I mean, the levels don't look drastically different, but I'm sure I talk a lot louder when I get going. You know, it's hard to get levels on me.
Take my volume up to 80. Let's see if that helps.
Okay, but I did not like Revelations 1 that much, although I wouldn't mind replaying the HD version sometime. But Revelations 2, I actually think that game kind of works better single player, because I thought it was the two characters did for each pair played very differently from each other, since one, you know, did not have guns. So I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, that kind of changed the dynamic a bit.
Yeah, I liked playing that. You know, it would have been cool. It would have been a lot better if you know, you could play Revelations 2 co-op online. You know, being forced to do it split screen is definitely a bummer. But you know, I liked that game quite a lot when it came out. Although, I think in part that was a reaction based in the times. You know, because Resident Evil was kind of a series at a crossroads, I feel. And, you know, Resident Evil 6, you know, oops. Resident Evil 6, you know, I defend and apologize for Resident Evil 6. I do not think it is a bad game. But that said, you know, I'll admit it's very much, you know, they were kind of just sticking, you know, they were just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, it felt like the series didn't know what it was going to do going forward. And it felt like Revelations 2 was kind of, it wasn't back to the basics, certainly. You know, Resident Evil 7 was a, you know, very much what the series needed at the time, but Revelations 2 felt like, I don't know how to put it, because I wouldn't say it was game back to the basics, but it felt like a series that was a game that reflected the series trying to find its footing again. And I feel like it was mostly kind of successful at doing that. It was, I liked it a lot more than Revelations 1. I thought Revelations, you know, Revelations 1 I kind of consider part of that period too, where, you know, people did think it was more horror-like than like 5, and I guess I just didn't love how it played though. The scanner kind of ruined it, I thought.
We had a $5 donation from Chris Fratz.
Thank you.
Saying, hey guys, how you doing? I just discovered a channel that has actual high-quality rips of N64 game soundtracks, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah, someone dropped that in the Discord chat earlier. Although I didn't. You know, I was kind of busy, so I didn't click the link.
Cool
but
that exists. Although I can't think of a N64 game soundtrack that I'd want to listen to.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't. I mean, there have already been people have done like some uncompressed, a lot of rare music, like GoldenEye, I think Perfect Dark, Blast Core. Some of that's kind of existed for a while.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to N64 music, I can't think of anything that I get real.
Well, you did not play that much.
Bothered over. I mean, I think that I like that I was able to use that song from Chameleon Twist in the new video. But I mean, I usually just click on a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah, you had some Beetle Adventure Racing in there.
Yeah, I mean, just because I was playing that, I was like, oh, I'll just.
I think you've used that before, actually. Oops. I lost my souls.
It's a pretty good soundtrack, but
What?
I don't really remember too much from it.
What does?
Sin and Punishment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But see, here's the thing. I mean, you put it. That was.
Is that it's your boy Yurt, the what is his name? The silent something. Yurt, the silent.
I wasn't
demon
paying attention.
It's your boy Yurt. The silent chief.
I mean, people get crazy into the lore of these games.
Yeah,
I've never followed it that closely. I mean, it's very. It's not there for you on the surface.
Depressing. I feel like it's depressing.
Oh yeah, I mean everything is like dead and dying, right?
Yeah.
But like but it is not there really on the surface. You know, you really have to dig for it and pay attention.
There's a $5 donation from EB Chill saying, "Hey guys, good to see ya. Finished RA5 and now dipping my toes in Sin and Punishment 2. That playlist is finally shrinking." I take it you're going back and watching all the old live streams. We never did another segment of that RE5 playthrough.
Oh yeah. Did we stream Sin and Punishment 2?
I did a long time ago, yeah.
Really? Oh, that's a bummer. I would like to. We try to not repeat headliner games.
Right. You know, but you were talking about Resident Evil 6. You know, I've never, for as much as I liked Resident Evil 5 in co-op, I've never played Resident Evil 6 co-op.
Well, you got it like...
I played through it before it was even out.
Yeah, because you had this store in New York City that always
5 days early or something.
Yeah. Played with Noi from the backlog.
Oh.
I haven't heard from him in forever. Yeah, we played the whole thing in, I don't know.
In a weekend?
Yeah, I mean, whenever it came out, you know, we probably crushed it in, I would guess, 3 days. I mean, it's, you know, say what you will about Resident Evil 6, like, that game came out in, you know, in an era where people were especially worried about DLC. I almost feel like people aren't as worried about it nowadays. Like, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to DLC enough these days to really say one way or the other, but it, you know, a lot of times, I don't know, but back in that day, there was a lot of conversation surrounding, you know, oh, you know, developers are just, you know, holding back stuff for DLC and,
right.
You know,
it's
games,
on the disc, but
games aren't complete and this is just an unlocked code and et cetera, et cetera.
I got real blurry. There it goes.
And, you know, here was this game that's like an action game with like 30 hours of main campaign content. Like, no, there was no one else doing anything like that with action games at that time. And it kind of, it
kind of crazy that it just had as much as it did, but you know, for all that, you know, like RE5 was still like way better.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that's why I said, you know, Resident Evil 6 is very much just they were throwing everything at the wall and seeing what stuck.
I mean, I can't wait till a game comes along where they bring back Jake Wesker.
Well, I mean, you know, I think Sherry was kind of the highlight of that game. It was cool.
It was cool, like, yeah, seeing her.
Cool game to revisit Sherry, because she was always one of the most major things from the main series that was never followed up on. So I really liked her being involved with the story. You know, she was definitely the highlight, I thought. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird game for sure, but you know, it's not bad, and it kind of annoyed me that everyone was just like treating it like it was objectively terrible, in part because I was so impressed by the sheer amount of content that they only asked you to pay one time for.
Right.
And, you know, I kind of felt like, you know, this is sending a really bad message to developers and publishers that this is like, you know, this AAA game that people were excited for is getting these like 3 out of 10 reviews when it's honestly not that bad.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you're so ungrateful for all of this content that you're getting for one price. I mean, the amount of content in that game is staggering, especially for its time.
I just want to say we've had two $1 Canadian dollar donations from Jordan Maddock.
Thank you.
With no message attached to each of them, but thank you.
If you did intend to have a message, get Coury's attention.
Yeah, just let me know. And I think that it's a game that I think people revisited it, like when it re-released, and I think that people generally liked it a lot better because the actual like the different moves you can do while aiming is really, really cool.
The stamina system is actually really well implemented too.
Yeah, but I just think that it all came down to the fact that it's basically went full action.
Yeah, and you know, there's really not much in the way of like inventory management in the game, which I think is a big part of the series. You know, it was, you know, you could have all guns on you at once, and they were like a huge mess to scroll through them just because there were so many.
Right. I want to say that Jordan Maddock says for the 20 AF 45, do you know the service menu values? And you had sent a message to Twitter about that, and I had meant to look, but I cannot find my remote to access it. I have a 27-inch version of that one, but do you have a 20-inch Toshiba?
I've got like a 14-inch and a 24-inch. Why? Because the service menu numbers.
The service menu is messed up. I used to have a 20-inch, and I do not anymore.
You know, if you have a way to contact Steve from Retrotech, you know, he worked on my Toshiba. He did some geometry adjustments, and you know, he found it by he found it just by Googling. I don't know what it was, but I will say that he was very impressed by the amount of options available in it for a consumer CRT. It was a lot more robust than he was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, mine does as well. I mean,
have you accessed yours?
The default values, I think, are all the same across them. They won't be the same for every single one, I think. I don't have... You can probably go to his... If you just go to Retrotech, the YouTube channel, and look, you can probably get his contact information there.
I mean, I doubt he remembers off the top of his head, but I mean...
He might have a good resource for it.
Right. I mean, I think normally he just Googles stuff, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. So, see, I mean, it's hard to see, but you can kind of see the ball down there. See that ball that killed me before? See, that has already rolled. So, like, certain traps like that don't reset when you die.
Oh, I see.
Enemies reset, but certain traps that are sprung. And, of course, there are, like, doors that you can open up to create shortcuts, so it wouldn't, you know... I wouldn't be surprised if there was a shortcut not that much further ahead. I don't... You know, I don't remember the layout of this game nearly as well as Dark Souls 1.
So even though they're different, is there any references in Dark Souls to Demon Souls?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely not the person to ask. I don't think so. I don't think they are.
It would be kind of cool that even if it doesn't directly say it, there is something that connects them.
Yeah, I mean, I am under the impression that they are not related.
Oh, Craig Wan says, my 36th birthday is coming soon. This week has been great.
Wow.
Got some early Just added another figure to my Power Rangers Lightning collection. And now I'm hanging with you. 36 is like where it all goes downhill. That's where everything's really falling apart.
That's, I mean, I turned 36 this year as well, so.
Yeah. You feel like you're falling apart? I just had to get a mouth guard for it to sleep. And,
oh, you grinding your teeth or something?
Well, I mean, I've always grinded my teeth in my sleep. But my dentist is like I kind of like don't like him, but he's like everything that it's like the end of the world. I'm just kidding when I say that 36 is where everything goes downhill. Just completely joking. Like everyone says, oh, you know, when you're like in your late 30s is when your body starts falling apart. That's not true. I mean, it's like different for everybody. But I got this mouth guard because I had always grind my teeth growing up, and I don't know. I think he said that, you know, he's like, I don't know, you got to get this mouth guard so you're gonna start breaking your teeth. And I can't think of anything worse than breaking my teeth.
My dad, I think he's been using a mouth guard. I don't need one. I don't have any trouble with that. You know, I used to have a retainer because I had braces.
Hmm. Well, this thing though, I had a mouth guard. I bought one. You can just like you heat it up and then you put it in your mouth and you like chomp down on it and eventually it'll like take form. This thing was like molded for my teeth, so it's like it just like fits right on, and it's like uncomfortable at first, but I'm slowly getting used to it. It's such a weird feeling though, and the good thing is like it'll keep my teeth straight.
Oh.
And if something ever happens, it keeps them in place like overnight, so that's good. But it's a weird feeling. It is a weird feeling. But so I have like one of my molars on the side had like a really big filling in it, and like a part of that filling broke. And every time I go there, he's like we gotta do something about that tooth. Listen, there's not a lot of tooth there. I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what we're gonna do about it. I mean, we can try this, and this, but honestly, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I'm like, well, you're the dentist.
Oh no!
I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, just tell me what you're gonna like. Figure it out. Oh, you die or no?
No. Oh no! No! I didn't think there was gonna be any more, and I was like just stopping to use the healing item. Ah! I was about to open a shortcut too.
Your dentist is making me anxious. It's true. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it was. He's just like, I don't know what we're gonna do. He's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Every time. I
mean, my
and
disc
eventually,
is,
like a piece broke off of it, and I was like, we got to do something.
My disc
He's like,
is
it's such a little amount. You know, I'll do this, and you know, we'll put I don't know if I can build it up to put a crown on it or something, or if I'm gonna like pull it out and like, you know, put a post there and put a fake tooth. He's just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna.
That's not something I want to hear from one of my doctors.
Well, exactly.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Exactly. Eric She's just like, well, I sure don't. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, what do you want me to say to that? Like, you just do this. You know, it's kind of like, figure it out. That's your job, is to figure it out.
I mean, my disc is pretty chill. I mean, you know.
I don't think that they still do. They still do. If you ever, do you have any fillings?
Oh, sure.
Did you always just get like Novocaine injections, or did they ever give you like the gas? You ever get the gas?
They as a kid, you know,
Yeah.
when I was younger, they gave me the gas. I have had a few fillings as an adult though that were, or you know they, gave an injection, and I was like so nervous about that for so long.
The injection.
Yeah,
the injection's weird.
Because what my dentist does, he like, oops, that's right, you can't pause in these games. He what he does is he grabs like my lip and just goes, he just like wiggles it for a while. He just like wiggles it for like, I don't know, like 10 seconds or something, and then does the injection, and like I don't feel a thing.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know if that's
really
a common technique or not, but it definitely works for me.
I remember like the gas was such a weird thing. I mean, it's been a long time since I've had it, but I remember as a kid, it always felt like I was being twisted.
Really?
Like, in a good way. Like my feet were like my bottom half of my body was spinning one way, and the top half was spinning the other way.
I mean, you feel like you're floating or something.
Yeah, but I just remember that. But I mean, growing up, I have no memories of like my dentist growing up. But he was like an old guy, and his name was Dr. Glatz, and I just remember him like over me every time I'm having the gas. He just goes, I gotta get real close to the microphone to say it. He's like, wide, wider, wide.
You know, I remember.
That's my only memories of him.
When I lived in Ohio, my dentist, you know, like looking back, I feel like this was surely a joke, because like if it was real, then parents wouldn't take their, I mean, he was a kid's dentist, you know, he wasn't an adult's dentist. I feel like if this was true, like he could not be a children's dentist. But like I remember like supposedly there was some story about him being in jail.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if that was actually true or not. Like, I've always been like, I want to be like, he made animal balloons. And I feel like he had this like made up origin story that he told the kids, you know?
Yeah.
But he made animal balloons. Like you got an animal balloon. You could like tell him what you wanted it to be. Like when you left the dentist. I remember one time I had the car window was down, and it flew out of my hands, and I was just like so distraught. And I mean, to be quite honest, I was probably a little old to be upset about losing an animal balloon. I mean, I was probably like 7 or 8. But I remember like I somehow talked my mom into like making a U-turn and going back, because we were like, you know, kind of in the neighborhood streets, like getting closer to our neighborhood.
So you had to go back and get it. You had to go back and get another one?
No. I talked to her to turn around and like see if we could get it. And like, you know, I think she was very realistic that there's like, you know, there's no way it's, you know, going to be intact, you know. And it wasn't, but I did find it. It was deflated though.
Wow.
I remember, I want to say the first, was it Ohio or Delaware? I can't remember which one it was, but like the first dentist I went to there, which I think it must have been Delaware, because I think I went to like a pediatric dentist for like a year, and then went to my parents' dentist after that. But I remember there was a Sega Genesis in the lobby, and that was, you know, I did not have a terribly much exposure to the system, so I was like always like kind of one of the things I thought of with the Genesis. And then, of course, I told the story about how my dentist here, you know, my current dentist actually like bought the practice from my previous dentist who was retiring.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And my previous dentist had a CDI in his waiting room, and I never noticed it until like a year before he retired. And
his Jaguar shaped whatever, like anesthesia machine.
Like I always want, like, I don't know if it had like always been there, but I noticed it one time, and then it was like the next time it was gone. And like up until the time he retired, like I was always like, oh man, like I really want to ask him, like, do you need that? Like, I want to see if he'd maybe just give it to me, or, you know, hey, whatever happened to that CDI? Was it there? You know, I'm kind of interested in stuff like that.
We had a $5 donation from Jonathan Hinson. Thank you. It says, I just ordered a Time Sleuth and can't wait to test every single TV and monitor in my house and at work.
It's a good device. I love it.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's a lot of fun to use. It's good to just have that reliable information, you know,
right,
about the screen that you're using. Especially, you know, I was able to prove that a direct connection to my TV is no different than running it through daisy chain through 2 switchers and the Denon receiver.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's good to just know that for sure. You know, it's like,
have you ever been put under anesthesia?
Only once for my wisdom teeth.
Okay, I saw some people talking about wisdom teeth.
It was kind of wacky.
Yeah, did you try to bite the doctor's fingers when he was removing them?
What? Oh, when I was asleep?
Well, like, what?
You mean when I was asleep?
Yeah, that happens.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah.
No,
oh, yeah.
I mean, I certainly never heard.
They couldn't proceed with the procedure because they kept on trying to.
Wait, you?
Bite. No, not me, but it's a friend of mine. Kept on trying to bite the doctor's fingers.
I mean, for me, I feel like I've probably told this story before, but like I remember. You know, they do it through an IV, right? It's not just a shot, right? I think it's an IV. I remember that being put in, and then the next thing I know, they're moving me out of the room, and I'm just like,
when are we gonna do this?
Yeah, I'm just like,
it's like, oh, you're done.
Yeah, I was just like, why? What's wrong with? Like, I thought they were moving me to another. Like, I thought there was like something wrong with with the operating room. I was like, why do we gotta go to another room?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It was a very strange It was a very strange thing, for sure.
Yeah,
And, you know, I remember going in the waiting room, and I want to say I was there for... I think I was told I was there for like 45 minutes in like the recovery room, but like I felt like I was there for like 5 or 10.
There's $4.99 from Sean Quinn. Thank you. He says, "Hi Corey, your dentist called and said sorry you don't like him. He said he's really looking forward to your next appointment." I mean, he's fine. He's fine. He feels very alarmist, and I think to react to the information that he gives me, or the lack of information.
My dentist is, you know, he's just so easygoing, and you know, my hygienist is like, she's like, when do you want to, you know, schedule your next appointment? And I'm just like, you know, I'm like,
Like,
you
I
know,
don't.
I'm like, I'm pretty flexible, you know, like, you know, she's like, do you like this? I'm like, she's like, well, why don't you do it at the end of the day? She's like, you're an easy last one. She's like, I'm always glad when you're the last one for the day, because I'm like, yes, this is not going to be a big deal.
Gaming Blow says, Corey somehow always manages to turn the MLiG streams into medical discussions. First it's cysts.
Oh gosh.
Now we got dentists in the mix.
I mean, let me tell you about cysts. Oh man, Sandy has had some cyst issues this week. She's had like a little cyst growing since like early in the year. Like kind of above her right.
I'm gonna use the bathroom while you tell this story.
Yeah, I already told Corey this story. A little tiny cyst that I noticed like back in like February maybe, and it was like it was on her back just above her right rear leg, and like just a little tiny bump, just a little bump. Nothing, you know, unusual about other than there was a bump. And about the size, I would describe it as being about the size of like an eraser, like on the tip of a pencil. And you know, I took a, you know, bump on your dog. You worry about that? I'm worried about this fall. It was okay. Dispatch everything with magic. Get your souls. Got souls. Pull lever. Uh-oh. I did it. I did it. Shortcut achieved. Whew. Whew. Definitely going back to the Nexus. Cling ring. Lose less HP when in soul form. Heck yeah. I'm all about that. So anyway, took her to the vet. He didn't really give much of an answer about what it was. You know, he drew some fluid from it just to be sure. He was like, you know, there's no cells, you know. He said, you know, anything like, if it was cancerous, this is not an area I would expect that to be. But he just didn't really give a clear answer, you know, but I trusted his judgment that it was nothing to be worried about. But, you know, I noticed more recently that it's a lot bigger than it used to be.
We're only this far in the story?
Yeah, well, I got into an intense fight, and
okay.
I opened a shortcut, so now I'm going back to the Nexus to spend my souls. So... he examines her, determines, is much more comfortable calling it a cyst. You know, he drew more fluid from it. But I think, the fact that
Sunday.
I think the fact that he drew from it may have, kind of created an opening, so to speak. And I didn't really pay attention to it for a week. And then I noticed that, I would feel it under her fur, and I'm like, oh, it feels like it's a little smaller. Then like a few days later, I felt it again, and it's like, oh, it feels like there's like a kind of a raise next to it. And I took a look under it, and it like, there was all this dried material in her fur that had like seeped out over days, I guess. Like a horrifying mess of just black, mostly dried goo, but not all that dried. And getting it out of her, like Tuesday or Wednesday this week, I spent like half of the afternoon just like getting it cleaned out of her fur. It was like peeling off zombie flesh. And then I finally could see the hole, and there's like this rupture that was like the size of the bump
teeth inside of it, probably.
No, there wasn't, but a hole. And like, as I cleaned it out, like I was able to push out this, like, if you're like, not to mute your teeth, you're talking about hair and teeth, then I'm mute your stream if you think this is going to ruin brushing your teeth for you, because this is my best analogy here. It was like, if I could push, I pushed out enough of a solid structure of gunk. It was like squeezing out toothpaste for your toothbrush. Like I squeezed out enough for a generous portion of toothpaste for your toothbrush of just this.
Did you brush your teeth with it?
No. I didn't put it on a toothbrush, but if I wanted to,
that was your big chance.
If I want to, I could have it. Oh my gosh, it was. I can't get it out of my head. I'm scarred for life. It was horrifying. I finally got cleaned up. You can see this like canal under it. I had to clean it. Yesterday the scab was doing good, but the scab kind of got pushed out by a little more material. So I don't know if I'm going to be in contact with the vet again next week, or if it's kind of going away on its own. I don't know. But anyway, that's fun.
There was a $4.99 donation from Brooks. It says, "Hey guys, not able to tune in much tonight, but I want to say I really enjoyed y'all's EverDrive video, and I learned a lot from it. Thanks." Well, hopefully you just missed that story.
Yeah, we've all got our cyst stories now. Luckily, it was not my cyst.
There's also $2 from Blade Blur saying, "Hope you guys are doing well. All the best."
Where's
Blade Blur sent me a message.
Where's the maiden? Does she not come around until you like kill the first boss or something?
Blade Blur really liked the Ultra HDMI footage in the N64 segment. Scoot Diggity says you need to beat the first boss before you can level up.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, it's pretty gross, like a piece of zombie flesh. I mean, she just kind of didn't even, or did she like seem like she was in pain while you're doing
No. I mean, she was annoyed by it, but she didn't act like it
minor
hurt.
Annoyance.
I mean, but she like, she stood still while I was working on it, and then I would, go, clean off the washcloth, and later on I was using paper towels after I finally got the area really cleaned off. Oops, I don't have my sword equipped. But she was like trying to get away when I was like approaching her, but then once I was working on it, she was still and never acted like bother. I mean, the best thing about it is I don't think she can reach it, so she can't like bother it, and she's never acted like she really wants to get to it.
Yeah, well, there's a $1.99 from Eric Schussler saying, "All right, now how about them boils?" I got a boil story for you.
Oh, wait, what's the difference between a boil and a cyst?
Remember, but on my side of my face right here, when I smile, I got a dimple right here. Right here. You kind of see
is this new?
No. I've had it since I was a baby, and the reason I have it is because I had a boil on my face, and my mom popped it when she wasn't supposed to, and I caused this dimple. That's all I got though. That's not gross or anything.
So
but I did have a boil on my face.
So what's the difference between a boil and a cyst?
Boil is like external, isn't it? Like it's like filled with like liquid and is big. I thought a cyst was more like. I mean, maybe a cyst is more solid.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. I'm not a medical doctor. I can't tell you. I'm sure that there's somebody in the chat that says can tell us the difference between a cyst and a boil. There was a $5 Canadian donation from Jeffrey Smith again. Thank you. It says this sounds like sebaceous material from a sebaceous cyst. They are painless unless infected. I'm a human veterinarian.
Oh, okay. Wait, a human veterinarian.
A human veterinarian? Maybe it's a humane? I don't know how it's supposed to be. Maybe that's what it's...
Yeah, she doesn't act like it hurts. But it was like, I mean, one side of the structure was like kind of smooth, like a sack, and then the other side was like, you know, the traditional like cottage cheese or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, a boil doesn't have water and a cyst is infected with pus.
Oh crap! Oh crap!
It's a good thing that Brooke stopped in during our chat about bruxism.
About what?
Brooke stopped in during our chat about
look at Blacksmith Ed and Baldwin.
It's Baldwin. My name is Baldwin.
The voice acting in this game is very... I mean, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, all of the Souls games kind of have this tone to the voice acting that just feels different from other games, and I don't know how to describe it. It's almost incidental. It doesn't feel...
Is bruxism actually grinding your teeth? It's funny because that's how this whole thing started. On my mouth guard. I didn't even realize that's what it indeed is. Interesting. I had no idea that that's... I wonder if that's where his name comes from. Because Brux is one of my favorite usernames that I've ever seen on here. Dr. Droop with the big question. It says, what do y'all recommend more, the Mega SD or the Mega EverDrive Pro, not taking price into account?
Well, you learned some information from Artemio after releasing the video.
Right.
Where
Well, yeah, but I mean, I didn't
something.
say anything definitive in the video, but I did put a comment. So I didn't know at the time that the Mega EverDrive Pro used MD Fourier like from the ground up to do its sound. I mean, I tried to kind of cut this off during, like, in the script as much as I could, like, in addressing it, and I say, like, they're both, when everything is all said and done, they're both basically going to have the exact same features. And I think that by having the competition, that eventually, you know, the Master System in-game menu is going to be integrated on the Mega SD. You know, the Mega EverDrive has its has the price, but in terms of the Sega CD sound quality, it turns out that the Mega SD, like, they tried to get it right as close as they could with the hardware that they had, but everything was already finalized when MD Fourier came out. so they could only dial it in as far as they could, and it cannot be completely accurate due to how it's like, because the hardware to
There's
do
like
it.
some limitations somehow.
Yeah, it is not. It's like it's a hardware limitation. But I mean, on the other hand, I mean, I'm not sure if in-game menu is going to be integrated on the Sega CD side. I do like that the in-game menu on the Mega SD does let you like turn down the CD audio music if you wanted to. If you wanted to record something with just sound effects, you could do it, and that's kind of cool. And having an in-game menu, and you know the way that it does the RAM cheats and stuff. But I mean, I know that Steven Saucier is saying Terranian hasn't really been great about going back to older products, and that is true. But as far as I know, like there's several things that they're planning on doing with older products that will hopefully change that. Like I know that Master System in-game menu is being worked on to bring it in, like in certain aspects of it are, and like increasing the number of save states for Genesis games is all being worked on, and like as far as I know, they're also going back to redo the menu on the SSDS3 to bring it more in line with the other stuff that they have done since. But I hope that they do all this stuff. So I mean, I tried to cut that off in the script where I said, you know, there's a price difference of $70, but the Mega SD, it's important to realize that the Mega SD was the first of its kind, and it did. People who bought it shouldn't feel sad that, oh, it was $70 more, because you had a year to play that stuff.
Well, you know, that's my exact same logic for why I'm getting the next gen I'm just buying the bullet and getting them now, because it's like, even if the price drops before I would buy them later, which is frankly unlikely, I don't think I would wait that long to buy them. Like, so in all likelihood, I'm still going to be spending, you know, $500 each, $400 at best. You know, why? You know, I got a pretty good freelance check recently. Why not just spend that same amount of money I'm going to spend later anyway? Why not do it now? And then I've enjoyed the system for longer, so therefore that $500 is better spent. I've had more time for it. So I mean, very much, I think, you know, similar to my logic on that. I don't know if that's good logic or not, but that's how I'm justifying it to myself. It feels good and it feels bad at the same time.
But they have been, I mean, I know they were saying that the SSDS3 firmware is supposed to be coming for a long time, but I mean, hopefully all this stuff is going to be happening now, because hopefully they're not just like working on the next thing. Because I mean, this is very much a problem that the Analog has run into, where they do a bunch of firmware updates at first, and then when they get it that they feel it's like good enough, then they just kind of move on, even though there's still a lot of things that happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that Crix really, really excels at, is that he is still coming up with updates. I mean, he's still like, he just released an update for the original N8, the non-pro, like a week ago. I would have changed that in the script, but I think that I say that on camera, so I just like kind of let it go. But yeah, he just put out a firmware update for that last week.
Wow.
And I mean, Crix is like very, very good at updating firmware. And as I said in the video, like since its release, he's had 1 or 2 firmware updates for the Mega EverDrive Pro since it came out, like, or 1 or 2 updates a month since it came out. Like adding like kind of like major things. I mean, depending on the kind of things you're looking for. Like just recently there was the animated menus, which is really, really cool. If like sort of inconsequential. But so I mean, it's very difficult to like pick one or the other. I just think when it comes down to it, when it's all said and done, they're gonna be almost identical. And I think it's just like.
But it sounds to me like the audio accuracy is currently higher on the Mega EverDrive. Is that right?
I mean, it's closer in terms of the. I mean, it's more accurate, yes, and it will always be more accurate because of the. It's lacking the hardware to be more accurate.
But I guess.
But there's other
but
things.
The interface and other aspects, are pros as well. So I guess it depends on your priorities as well. Interface. Ease of access to the menu, stuff like that.
Good day to you. Care to look over my wares?
But
Mostly stolen, but
I mean,
Fourier
I'm not sure
aspect
if the
is definitely
MSU MD stuff can be changed or like can be tweaked in the future to have the seamless looping. That's one of the things I like about the MD Plus stuff, is that it can loop the tracks, like they can, essentially crossfade them. But in a way, the way that it starts over the music feels more like a Sega CD game. And the way that it ends and just like starts to like a Sega CD game with Red Book audio. So I mean, it's really, if you want to save money and you like these smaller form factor. I mean, that is one thing I love about the Mega EverDrive Pro, is that it's the same size as a real is a real cartridge.
Oh, Crescent Moon Grass is weaker than Half Moon Grass. I've been wasting the good stuff.
Go ahead, take your time. I'm not going anywhere.
Ryan Woolridge, unless you're talking to somebody else. Thank you.
I am assuming that these.
I mean, there's just a lot of different options for everything at this point.
Some
people are like, I see that some people are talking about like, why would I need like a Pocket or a Duo if I have the same functionality with a Mister? And it's absolutely true. I mean, I said it on Twitter a few weeks ago that it's just like there's so many options, and it's kind of crazy that we have as many really, really good options at this point for everything that we do, or everything that we enjoy, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking the other day that I basically have either an ODE or flash cart or SD card read ability for almost every single system or hard drive, for like almost every single system I own, like until like basically current generation.
You've got
the only ones that I don't are like Xbox 360. I mean, I could hack the PS3 if I wanted to, and like current generation stuff. I mean, it's kind of crazy. There's $5 from Kinda Cool Productions.
That's kind of cool. Thank you.
Saying Turbo EverDrive Pro X7, is it happening or forever just a rumor? I was not aware that it was something that was happening until I've seen some people mention it this week. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's even possible to do like CD games with that, because I think you'd need to be able to connect to something in the back, unless it's something that connects to the back somehow.
Nothing says Crix can't make a rear port connection system.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's like a whole can of worms in terms of video output.
That is true.
That was like the big problem with the SSDS3. I mean, I
don't know if it's a little out of his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, not to underestimate him. I don't even know the guy. It's okay.
What new systems are we getting? I mean, you're definitely getting them both, and I mean, I was planning on not getting either of the new systems, but then I said earlier that I have a friend who pre-ordered one extra of each from different retailers in case in case one of them didn't ship or one of them got canceled, and it turns out that they're both shipping, or all of them are shipping. So I think I might buy them. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I think that like watching that PS4 on PS5 backwards compatibility stuff on Digital Foundry like made me more interested.
What's so interesting about that is, something I never would have thought of, because PS4 Pro games typically had like a lower resolution target than the 1X version. And that you've got a more than 2x multiplier in teraflops between PS4 Pro and PS5, but less than a 2x multiplier in teraflops between 1X and Series X. In some cases, the PS for games that have like an unlocked frame rate or an option for an unlocked frame rate, in a very few cases, like Sekiro, the PS4 version is faring better on PS5 than, in terms of performance, than on Series X. Even though, you would usually still have a higher resolution on Series X, but, debatable whether it's worth the trade-off.
So for Series X, and you are playing Xbox One games on it, does it install from the disc, or do you have to like download anything beyond like a patch?
The code from the disc works on PS5 and Series X.
Okay.
The code from the disc works. They tested Assassin's Creed Unity on both.
Right.
Oh yeah, here's that moment from the trailer.
This is like the iconic moment from this game, I feel like.
Yeah, but the dragon, I think I lured the dragon out and then oh, here he comes.
There's $5 from Craig Wan. Thank you. He says, Arcade 1-Up revealed their Outrun cabinet, and I'm stoked. Glad Sega arcade games are getting this treatment, and he plans on doing an Arcade 1-Up episode. Not an episode on it. I mean, we talked about the Final Fight. You talked about the Final Fight thing in the Digital Foundry video.
Oh yeah.
I do want to. If I was gonna get one, I would get that. The one that has Golden Axe, Revenge of Death Adder on it. Like, I think that's really close to being out. It's like Revenge of Death Adder, Shinobi, and several other ones. Like, it's like Sega 16 and whatever.
That's a pretty killer lineup.
And, like, whatever. It's a 32, maybe. I don't know what it is. But that's the one I really want. The Outrun cabinet is pretty cool, but it's it's like sit down, or is like the sit down portion just like an extra thing that doesn't need to be connected? Oh, the Astro City Mini has got to be out pretty soon. It's like less than a month away at this point, right?
Maybe not.
I'm talking about the full on, like the arcade 1-up. Okay, sit down is not connected. It's just a, you know, Outrun, like that's cool, but I would probably get. I would love when they had like Space Harrier and the Afterburner on it. I think it's. I don't know when it's going to be out. I should check to see when
There it goes.
When the Revenge of Death Adder mission is going to be out. So PS5 controllers won't work on the PS4, but will work on the PS3. Is that just like a current thing, or is that going to change in the future? I feel like there's a...
That almost sounds like
a
glitch that just, it happens to work.
I mean, if it does work really well, that's pretty cool. I mean, if it works seamlessly as if it was a DualShock 3.
Yeah. I switched to one of my black PS3 controllers because, you know, I'd used the blue one for a long time. It was the only one that I ever had that was any different than a black one. And I used it so much, and it did not feel responsive anymore.
Well, the PS3 controllers are weird. They're so light.
Yeah, they definitely feel cheap. But like the buttons were starting to get stuck, and the battery life was really bad, and you know,
which is crazy. I mean, I saw you say the battery life in yours is really bad, but the battery life on the general DualShock 3 battery life is crazy long. So when you say it's bad, is it like only a couple hours it was lasting for?
Yeah.
Usually they last for...
Oh yeah, they used to easily last for a marathon day of gaming, but
I thought they lasted longer than that. Like, I mean, there's times where I wouldn't charge it for like weeks.
But PS4 controllers, like, they've always been terrible. And my main one, my 20th anniversary one is not in very good shape anymore in terms of the battery. I mean, the controller itself, like, is physically quite good.
I think the Wii U Pro controller is like 90 hours.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I regularly put mine on charge because
no swiping.
Huh?
I said swiper, no swiping.
Oh.
Because you said, oh, man.
Well, I did swipe something under that dragon's lair, and he pretty much did say swipe or no swiping. So. You know what's funny is, like, I actually just, like, in channel flipping, like, saw swipe or no swiping before that was, like, a thing. And, like, I remember, like, distinctly thinking, wow, this is dumb. And then it kind of became a meme, even...
I didn't even realize it was a meme.
Well, I don't know if it's a meme, but
I mean, I never really watched Dora, but
it's famous. You know, it's a well-known thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I would consider that a meme, I guess.
There was a live action Dora the Explorer movie that came out.
Oh yeah, I think I did see that.
And it was like, I mean, I watched it with the kids, and it's like it was pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly was not. It was not a bad movie.
You know, I'm just now remembering where the first boss is. Isn't the I mean, obviously I need to go back and get my souls now, but isn't the first boss behind this big gate? But how do you open it? Yeah, I know you have to do some run around.
Cabinet. If
Huh?
Craig wants saying, asking if I miss my space harrier cabinet, and I would love to have that space harrier cabinet like in this basement.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would not have liked to take it up to the attic in the old house, or it would have stayed for 5 years. But if I could get it back, I would totally do it. You have to pull a switch behind a door past the red dragon on the bridge.
Oh, okay. So I am going in the right direction. It's good to be getting practice in on this first level before the remake comes out.
Is this the only game that you're getting at launch?
It is. Although I don't know like how much I'm really going to play it until Analog Frontiers Part 3 is done, but I don't know. I could see myself giving myself like an hour in the evening to play it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that'd be enough. I don't know if I'm gonna like try to play. I might save it. I'll save. I'll say Ori and the Will of the Wisps for until after Analog Frontiers 3. But I'll definitely test it out because I do. Whoa, dude! Don't be blowing us up.
Scotter 140 is asking, when is Analog Frontiers 3 coming out? I mean, ideally this month.
Yeah, I mean, my like hopes and dreams are it would be out. It would be done before Thanksgiving. I'm starting to be less optimistic about that, but like I think it'll be early December at the latest, but I've hit a good groove with it. I was having a little trouble with getting music in it that really felt right, and then like once I got the right music, like it started really falling into place. But it is in the works. The theme is the title is Preservation and Replication. So, anything to do with preservation, emulation, both hardware and software. Piracy, of course, is a topic with many different viewpoints. And I think something I'm very proud of it is that the places that I've put built into it already for the ad break locations are so evenly paced. So that I mean I know that might sound weird, but like I'm really proud of that because it kind of makes me feel like, oh, like this is actually like each subject like is discussed for a pretty even amount of time. Yeah. So that made me feel really good. Seeing how those are spaced apart like every 10-ish minutes, give or take, so all the subjects are pretty are well fleshed out, but also not too long. So
that's right. I'm either gonna do, I'm considering doing the MVSX video. It's just gonna be a quick one. I'm thinking about like giving myself.
MVSX. The
Yeah, like I was supposed to do a mini video with John on it, like we did on the Arcade Stick Pro last year. But I just feel like he's like really really busy and it'd be hard to do that.
And you've been
I might just do
kind of
a
impressed
more
with
of a
it,
casual style video on it, and I want to see if I can just, get it done by the weekend. Like that's what I would like to do.
You should have some B-roll of your kids playing it because you said they really like it.
Oh yeah, I mean they're way into it. They were way into it. My kids on the MVSX like really love playing the Metal Slug games together. They think it's just like the coolest thing, and they are way into it. But I mean, I was thinking about doing that because I kind of don't want to do like another, like an ODE video so quickly after the last one. But I'm gonna do the mode video in much the same way of just like I'm gonna give myself a week to do it, and I'm not gonna make it like I need to take a minute and not do like an hour-long video.
Well, I was just, we were just talking, and something that always stuck with me, it's this random thing. I can't remember like if I think it was just some marketing material, just some sign or something written somewhere in an IKEA store. I don't remember exactly where it was I read it, but it said something to the effect of, IKEA products start with a price. And, it's not, you design the product and then you decide, okay, well, how much are we going to sell this thing for? It's you decide, okay, like I'm going to make a product that costs this much, and then you design the product. Now I'm sure there's you've already decided like, is this a bookshelf? Is it a TV stand? What kind of product is this? But you decide before you decide any other parameters, you decide the price. And I thought that was such an interesting approach. And I kind of found myself thinking about that a lot. And it kind of occurred to me as we were, discussing about how tough it is to get videos done, which is very true. I was like, I think you could take a similar approach to making videos in a lot of ways. Like, how, your cost, how much time goes into the production of this video. That is your cost. And I want to make a video about this sort of subject that takes 1 week, week and a half, 2 weeks to make, and you hold yourself to, getting something done within those parameters.
Yes.
So like, instead of like feeling like this video has to cover everything under the sun, well, plan out the scope to get it done in a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is you're feeling like. And if there's something that you feel like, I want to talk about that, but you just don't have time to, well,
you're not supposed to be going this way, apparently.
Huh? Someone said, I was collecting my lost souls.
Leave the dragon alone on the hill.
I was getting my souls. I know I'm supposed to go beyond the bridge now. I think I'm getting this confused with an area in Dark Souls 1 where there's a bridge and there's like an exit off of the bridge where you I think there's a very similar situation in Dark Souls 1, if I'm remembering correctly. And you like swing a left, take an exit ramp off the bridge. You like have to kind of run into the dragon, essentially, but then you can get off and then down some stairs into safety. I don't think that same thing exists here though. But I do want to lure the dragon over to at least get rid of these guys. Yeah.
But oh yeah, about the amount of time put in, and I mean, sometimes we just get so carried away, and I'm like, there's no.
Oh yeah.
And I.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know people love the long videos, but
I think we can have some shorter ones in there a little bit more often. But I think like Mode and MVSX are going to be shorter videos before I get into doing like another bigger one. And I just want to like see how fast I can get it done. At least for the MVSX one. And that one's a little bit easier also because there's no direct capture or anything like that, and there's not anything especially enlightening for me to talk about, but it's just kind of neat, and like the video quality is great on it. It's like a perfect 4x scale, and it looks great. But the scanline stuff is still really, really bad. The other option would be is I could do like a live stream with it maybe instead.
instead of doing a video at all.
Yeah, I mean I could.
Yeah.
Technically. I could probably get John to join me for that, like we were thinking about, and I just play it and we talk about it. I mean, we do a lot of stuff with, like having very detailed stuff is big for us, but I mean, we can do a little bit of the other stuff too, I think. Yeah, in the mode video, I'll show both the Saturn and the Dreamcast.
By the way, I don't remember if I mentioned this on stream before, but I don't think Analog Frontiers Part 3 is going to be quite as horrifyingly long as I thought it might be. Is definitely going to be long.
It's like an hour and 2 minutes or something right now.
Yeah, it's actually a little shorter right now. Like I cut like 30 minutes out yesterday.
But I was watching Joe's episode of GameSack today on the Sega Ages stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I should get back to doing another 5 of those in an episode, and that just sounds like really nice and breezy. And of course, we gotta do our end of the year video.
Yep. I really wanted to go ahead and script out some of the games that I played in the past month or so, but I didn't quite get around to it.
But the way I was thinking about doing it though is like I was thinking about doing it as like as a mini, where I would actually be sitting in a different place. It's not like I'm presenting like a normal place. I would be sitting more. If anybody watched our panel that we did for the LI Retro Uplink, where I was kind of sitting at my desk, I was thinking about doing something more casual like that, and presenting from my desk, because what I've been doing in the last several episodes, and I think it's going really well, is I've been recording all my voiceover right here. I've been recording my voiceover narration read directly to my edit timeline. and then I was thinking about doing that, but then also like shooting the on-camera stuff right here as well. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like the mini stuff on Patreon, like were really, really fun to do, and I would like to get back into doing that, and I anticipate it at some point. I really had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, those were fun to do.
And I think that is something that you'll see a return to.
We didn't. We kind of meant to take a break from it for like I want to say it was just a few months at the end of last year, and then
yeah,
it just kind of extended into all this year somehow. Whoops.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Kind of cool productions is saying your fans are concerned you aren't doing enough videos together as a couple, and
some people do worry about that because they're like, where's the other guy? Even though I was the primary presenter in the past 2 videos before the EverDrive updates, but like sometimes I guess people just don't see certain videos. I don't know.
Right, well, I mean, the Mario was pretty evenly split.
I mean, not really, because the N64 segment was pretty long, and then like the 3D All-Stars segment was what, like 10 minutes maybe, and then there was like 4 more minutes that was like the little bit of emulation and PC port talk plus the ending, which in retrospect I should have given to you, but I thought my thinking at the time was it was going to flow better. Going straight out of that, but then once I saw how it was actually working out, I thought, oh, maybe it would have worked better to give it a little more balance to have you in it, but
yeah. But I guess if you were like the main presenter for the 2 before that, it was needed because I guess I was like the main presenter for.
Yeah, people get worried when one of us is absent for some reason.
I think the main presenter for like a year before that, I guess.
Wow, it wasn't that long.
Well, I mean, I guess outside of like Analog Frontiers.
But it is true that there have been fewer videos where.
Right.
But like with the EverDrive video, like the only one of those I even have is the Famicom X7, and I haven't even used it that much. Or N8 Pro, whatever it's called.
Right.
You know, so I'm just not that much of it. I mean, you know, you were a voice of authority on those, whereas I really wasn't.
Right. I mean, I was the main presenter on the first one we did too. The first flashcard one.
Yeah. I mean, I popped in for just a moment to kind of give my disapproval of save states.
Right. But I mean, you also talk about like emulation, or like not emulation, but like the idea of flashcards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, nowadays people almost get annoyed if you like bring up that at all, because they think you're like being judgmental or something. And it's just like, you know, it's just acknowledging, you know, an aspect of it, which, you know, there's a good chunk of Analog Frontiers part 3 is discussing that. And guess what? I mean, the general consensus from all interviewees is pretty much, you know, yeah, whatever, man. But, you know, there's also the side of it of you know, it's, you know, some people seem to think this is absolutely stupid because they manage it, or they think they manage it in their head well enough. I am kind of suspicious if they, you know, people think that having access to every game ever, you know, whether it's a software emulation or a flash cart, they think it they think it doesn't affect how they play games, but I bet it has an effect on how almost anyone relates to a game.
It's hard to say
some
whether
people
or not,
more
like,
some people more than
like, they even care if.
Right, but that's the point. Like, if you don't care, then maybe it is having an effect.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, it doesn't even matter. Well, okay. If it doesn't matter, then I'd say that it has an impact. I mean, I've got these devices too, but it's not. To me, they're work tools.
Very much so.
I will, sometimes I'll stream with them or something, but like if I'm playing a game in the evening for my own enjoyment, and usually even for streams. Usually for streams, I'm using my real cartridges. I mean, it's important to me. And some people don't get that, but it is how I feel. So deal with it.
Sweet Diggity says that you have more personal rules and conditions for playing games than the average gamer.
Is that a criticism or just an observation?
It's just an observation.
Which, I think it's fine.
But I mean, I very much think of mine as work tools also. I mean, a big part of that is because we are big backlog enthusiasts.
Yes.
If for people that don't generally don't care about playing all the way through a game, I think that's like it makes sense to now it doesn't really matter. I don't know. We like to track the games that we have and would like to play them. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Sweet Diggity says, I don't care as long as the community at large doesn't try to judge others and place rules on how we're allowed to play and enjoy our own games.
Which unfortunately people do. And that's that's a huge part of the message behind Analog Frontiers, I think, is, let's celebrate all of these different ways that there are to play. They are all important for preservation and access. And I don't think, no one should criticize anyone's preferred method of play. This is such a weird first boss, I feel.
Yeah, because it doesn't really look like anything.
Well, it's a blob, and it's got these other blobs that have shields. I think the assumption is that there are things underneath it. I'm sure the lore experts could tell me what these things really are. I assume it's like a Legion-esque thing. I forgot that MP regenerates in this game very slowly, though.
Downloads on my Switch.
Say what?
Adam Owen is asking how an EverDrive is any different than an SD card full of digital downloads on my Switch.
Well, I mean, are you talking about legally obtained or not legally obtained? Do you have literally everything? I mean, the difference to me is when you've got this massive list of everything in the world, it makes you less likely to treat any single game seriously. You're just going to mess around with it for a while. And don't get me wrong, people are fully capable people are fully capable of, taking their emulated games seriously, but I do think it has an effect, I think, on how you approach them. I do think it does. But I don't mean that as a criticism, by the way. Like, if that truly does not have an impact on how you approach games, like if you feel like looking through a list does not diminish your ability to commit to a game any more than, you know, playing it off your shelf, buying it from an eShop, whatever, that's awesome. But for me, and certainly for a lot of other people, it does have an impact. Like, you're just more likely to appreciate the game, I think, when you're making that commitment to it. You know, spending money on a game means something beyond supporting the developer, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It means something to your own enjoyment of the game, I think.
Burp Gurp is saying it's been the inverse for me. I've beat near 100 games last year, mostly through emulation on a Pi.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I couldn't, but that's awesome.
The monumental.
But unless you had like, what if you had like an empty SD card and you just like put the games that you wanted to play on it?
Mm-hmm. But I do think there's, you know, I mean, think about the difference between some random game on your EverDrive list or your emulator list. You know, you've got all the ROMs for the system. You just click on some random game. I feel like you're much more likely to look at it with a critical eye because you've got or an overly critical eye because you've got so many other choices. So you're just going to be like, I don't know, and move on. But like, imagine that was the game that you picked at Toys R Us when you were a kid because you thought the box art was cool, or you saw it in a magazine and thought the screenshots looked cool. Like, yeah. You wouldn't pop it in and be like, I don't know. No, you would like commit to it and you would find, I guess, the joy in it that goes beyond just this surface level. And that's what the difference is between one of your favorite games and, you know, something that's just like, you know, it doesn't really seem that good.
That's true. And like, I definitely, I feel that. But what Vanessa is saying here is also like it's very much true, and I'm sure that to an extent, in that we talked about the amount of games that you have unbeaten a couple weeks ago. I mean, versus how it was when you like had finished your backlog.
When I had a smaller collection.
Says I probably have a 1,000+ physical games. I'm nowhere near close to playing them all. I also have almost the same amount digitally. Is definitely overwhelming. So I mean, do you feel that it's like just because you're buying something and adding it to your collection, I mean, do you feel like you're still not more likely to play that game than you would if you just have so much stuff?
I mean, I definitely always buy a game with the intention of playing it, and not just playing it, but playing it through to the end. Now, obviously, I've worked up quite an intimidating backlog, unfortunately, but you know, I'm still buying stuff with that intent, and you know, that's important to me. You know, I don't exactly have a plan to get through it, but you know, let's say, for example, you know, by the time the PlayStation 7 comes out, you know, everything is, you know, all games as a service or whatever, you know, just theoretically, you know, I hope that it doesn't get to that point that soon, but we don't know that. You know, well, the collection that I've been building up I've probably got enough unfinished games. If there's like a hard cutoff point of me being interested in new games, I'll still have enough old games to last me, you know, the rest of my life from what I already own, probably. Maybe not. I don't know, but it's pretty big backlog. But you know, I guess in some ways I look at my current backlog as a bit of insurance for the future, just in case games at some point become something that I don't really feel interested in continuing to go, like new games, new systems. Right. The current state of the industry in 2 decades becomes something I don't feel interested in continuing on with. I hope it doesn't get to that point.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also like, okay, in 2 decades, when you're 56,
and the stuff that there's going to be so much.
I mean, how many games would you have to beat a year to be able to finish everything before
and
you die? Is it even possible?
Scourge of demons faced.
I mean,
in the distant past,
in many ways, like I think
benevolent rule, the world
if the channel didn't exist and I started over from scratch, I would like only buy a game that I was going to play right then, and I wouldn't buy a new game until I beat the one that I was playing.
I mean, you say that, but then you know, the things you see at Goodwill, the things you see on clearance. I mean, you'd have a hard time.
Well, I mean, if I like lost everything and I started over, like I would not be trying to repurchase everything. I would be like completely digital with everything. I would not be buying the physical games again.
I mean, Dr. Droop, I don't even play Final Fantasy 14 that much. I'm not even subscribed right now, although there's a free play period going on right now, and I'm thinking about doing it after PS5 comes out because I want to try backwards compatibility on PS5, and I might go ahead and then subscribe for a few months so that I can play through Shadowbringers, because last year I did Stormblood, so I'd like to do, or was it early this year? I can't remember when I finished Stormblood. Regardless, I need to do Shadowbringers, and I was thinking about doing it on PS5 just because I know it's not like got a PS5 update yet, but it should run at a much more stable frame rate, I imagine.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I only really play the main story in Final Fantasy 14, so it's really not a factor.
I mean, I was just talking to a friend today about how, you know, like, yes, like we have like a bunch of games and that we haven't played, but I wonder if it was like you had that many books, if a person had that many books, if anybody would think anything about it.
That's a good question.
Like, read.
That's a good question. I mean, I'm sure people.
I mean, like I guess it's like very much a first world problem, and B, like a part of like just like civilization and culture these days. It's just like you have more stuff than you know what to do with.
Now, the old one.
I guess that's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I mean, I never really thought of that, like a backlog of books, a backlog of movies.
I mean, there's people, they have like entire like big like a study in their house that is just like full of books. I mean,
have they read them all?
I mean, I see that like
my uncle has like a gigantic library.
Yeah, Scepter Sever is saying books are less time consuming, but that is not always the case. I mean, it depends on how fast. I can certainly beat a lot of my games faster than I can beat, or than I can read a book.
Yeah, I'm not a fast reader. I
know. Well, I mean, that's
my mind drifts too much, while I'm reading, and you know, I know a lot of people can relate to this, where like you've read a page, but then like all of a sudden you realize that like your eye went over every word, your brain was going through the motions, but you didn't absorb a darn word.
But I mean, that's just because we don't read a lot.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's like it's not something that like we are super invested in. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you know, I mean,
people who like read constantly, and like that's like their passion. They're picking, like they're absorbing everything about it.
Sure.
But I mean, the same thing is like I'm sure experience moments like that with games a lot too, where it's like you can't remember basically anything from a game you played through.
Oh, sure, but like usually like not in like that instant where like I forget like what I did like 2 seconds ago.
Well, I mean,
well, I used to like reading, you know, in like elementary school, but then, you know, years and years and years of forced readings, you know, kind of took the passion out of me, you know?
yeah, well, I think it's very much one of those things where I think the forced readings, I mean, it's like because it's good to, a lot of these forced readings are like culturally
Oh, sure.
significant.
I mean, I'm not saying that we.
I mean, do you think that you'd feel any different if you were like, if you're forced to play through like Mario 1, 2, and 3 in school? Like,
I don't
for
know.
a lot of people, it's just like a lot of times, like passionate readers often say that they just like find that first book that just like really,
What is it? Dost thou seek soul power?
you know, like ignites this passion.
So be it. After all, go
You know,
forth,
that-
let these own
It just like takes like the right book for the right person. I mean, it just comes down to what I mean. I never read very much either. Almost all my reading was like in magazines.
So the world might be mended.
But I mean, there's no answer to it, obviously. But I think someone was saying that Marie Kondo exists because of people like us, and that's very, very true. I mean, if you can look at your game library and you say, I'm only going to keep the games that spark joy.
Well, that's what I tried to do years ago.
Well,
and
yeah.
Now
exactly.
I regret it.
Because, you know, we have a use for some of this stuff. Or at least we like to think that we do.
I mean, that's almost the exact term that I would have had in my head at that time, you know, because I was like, what, you know, I played through this game, I beat it, but it was good, but it's not one of my all-time favorites. It's not, you know, it doesn't spark joy when I look at it necessarily. And like, I'll have a lot of good games that I'm kind of like, oh. I mean, it wasn't like an all-time favorite or nothing, but it was good. I'd like to have it again.
Vanessa says, I read almost every Star Wars novel that made the amazing extended universe and loved them. But I really do not read for fun anymore because time and like my mind drifts and imagination takes over. What I do want to know is if you've ever read the Star Wars expanded universe novel Zorba the Hutt's Revenge. I was just I for some reason I thought of Zorba the Hutt the other day. And Zorba the Hutt, you know who Zorba the Hutt is?
I do not.
It's Jabba the Hutt's dad.
Oh, okay. I would have guessed that Zorba the Hutt was a female Hutt.
Nope. It's like looks like Jabba the Hutt with has a big like braided beard.
Hutts have facial hair?
Yes.
Or is it like flesh hair?
I don't know. I don't know. It's like braided hair. Beard hair.
Hello there, souls.
I trade fine goods for souls.
Scoot Diggity says, I read the first one by Timothy Zahn, and I read that first trilogy, and I remember really liking it.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to the audiobook
Well, you've got to
of the first one. You know, we did that sponsorship. I really was listening to it. I haven't finished it though.
And if they
I haven't
made
finished
those
Phantasy
into
Star
movies,
2
like
either.
if they made that into movies as they were coming out,
Oh yeah.
I think that would have been like better than anything that we got ever since.
I mean, based on what I already read, I mean, or listened to, absolutely.
I mean, I don't really remember any of them. I remember reading those and the Dark Empire graphic novel. But speaking of Star Wars, I've been playing and enjoying Star Wars Squadrons in VR.
Oh, really? I didn't know you got it. I knew you were interested.
Yeah, I had $10 Best Buy gift certificates that I had to spend like this month. I'm like, I'm just gonna get it because it's a $40 game.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, actually. I wonder if there's like a lot of like post-release content planned.
I don't really think so. It has like a whole online multiplayer.
But like, how's the single player?
I'm done the prologue and 2 missions so far, and I think it's really cool.
So the VR mode works well?
Oh yeah.
Does it feel like it's supposed to be a successor to the Factor 5 games?
No, it's supposed to be a successor to the X-Wing and TIE Fighter for the computer.
Oh, see, I had X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. You know, I didn't exactly have a lot of PC games, and you know, my computer could not really play it all that well. But I've always had mixed feelings about dogfighter games.
Well, this works pretty well. Like, it's cool. I was interested because I like the VR mode in Ace Combat 7.
Yeah. But you can play the whole game. Like, that was
story,
like 3 missions or something, right?
Yeah.
Like specially designed for it. But this, you can play the entire campaign in Star Wars Squadrons, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Joseph Persico is saying there's no post-release content for Squadrons. It is what it is.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know how many story missions there are. I'm guessing it's probably gonna be like 10 missions maybe, but they're pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
And it has Wedge in it. Wedge is
real Wedge?
No, not real Wedge, but I mean the character of Wedge.
But I mean, it's not his voice.
No, I mean I don't think so. Maybe it is. Yeah. Vanessa is saying, as someone who's a diehard TIE Fighter fan, plays Squadrons in VR, otherwise it's kind of meh.
Have you even played it not in VR?
What? Have I never played? I have not played it not in VR, no. Gerald Tan says the best dogfighter game is Luftrausers. Luftrausers was I think was your first experience with Tim Rogers video content.
Yeah, I'd read Tim Rogers stuff before,
Yeah.
but I'd never seen. Of course, that was completely different from, you know, the 3-hour video reviews he's doing now.
Luftrausers. At the very end of that, he's like, Luftrausers.
Has he done one since the Doom one?
No. Any interest in the Falconeer? Kind of has a Factor 5 Panzer Dragoon style to it. I am not familiar with that. Is that?
It's a well, I mean, I guess it's
a rail shooter.
I don't think it's a rail shooter. But it's got like 120 hertz modes on next gen. Uh-oh. This is looking grim. Yeah, I don't know much about it. What's interesting about John was talking about it on one of the I think one of the Series X videos. John and Richard were talking about it, and apparently it uses like absolutely no texturing at all. Like everything is like, you know, just flat objects. It looks to me like an open combat, like not on rails, but I'm not sure. But I mean, it kind of looks like Panzer Dragoon, I guess, in the sense that you're like you're a human riding like a large flying creature. I've not looked into it a ton. I mean, you know, like kind of like I said, like I don't love dogfighting. I like on rail shooters like Star Fox.
Right. Same here.
And I like Rogue Squadron, but I don't love Rogue Squadron. Like, on rails is just much more fun to me. I feel like because you're shooting much more, it's stuff that is kind of straight out in front of you in the Z-axis. There's not as much like turning. And the thing that kind of is always kind of just not that interesting to me about dogfighting games is you're like tracking this like little dot off to the side and you're doing this big horizontal turn, and you know, you have to shoot a little bit ahead of where your target is or else you won't hit it. And it just that's just to me that just is not as fun as the more Z-axis oriented action and rail shooters. That's just me though. But talking about flight and space sims, Vanessa area, I really want whenever the Microsoft Flight Simulator comes to Xbox. I definitely want that. Like, I am totally going to use that, start using it in videos just for like flyovers of like locations that we might be talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, Resident Evil was developed in Osaka, Japan or whatever, you know? Just have like a little flyover, right? I think that'd be fun. Why not? I think like, it's been a long time since I've done it, but I think I've done that, like, I think I've used Google Earth for, like, videos a long time ago. I used to do that all the time.
I don't remember when it was.
I used to do it all the time for work. I would use Google Earth, animations for stuff for work.
I gotta run to the bathroom again.
Okay.
Too much water. I'll be right back.
Whoa, what's... Oh, I've got some laughing jerks shooting at me. Sort of, I think I remember these guys. So, some of the stuff in this game, like, I don't really remember, like, oh, was this enemy in Demon Souls or Dark Souls? I now remember, though, how good magic was in this one. like magic is pretty powerful, and you've got the regenerating MP. Like in Dark Souls, you've got like limited use spells. You know, limited use per revival. And I don't remember like really focusing on magic like it's a huge priority in any of those games. But I remember, I want to say the second character I made in this game was I tried to make Terra from Final Fantasy VI because I wanted to make like a magic focused character. So I was like, who can I make that would be a all magic character? $1.99 from Eric Schussler. All right, Corey's gone. Back to talking about cysts. Man, I hope that Sandy's cyst will start to not regenerate as much as it had been, because boy, that was gross. I mean, there's still a bit of a bump there, but let's hope the new scab holds. FF6, all-time favorite RPG. It is up there. It is up there. I mean, it could be mine. I mean, that, Chrono Trigger, Dragon Quest VIII. Oh, man. Oh, speaking of Dragon Quest, you know, I'm sure this is a well-discussed topic by now, but I mean, you know, we knew that, you know, I think it's kind of shady, but we knew that Dragon Quest XI-S was, you know, on PS4 and Xbox was going to be a port of the Switch port. In other words, the graphical concessions that exist on Switch also exist on the new versions in terms of characters are made with less geometry. I assume environments maybe as well. The lighting's a little different. You know, less density on grass, stuff like that. But the PS5, I don't know about the Xbox version, but the PS4 version, 60 frames per second. So, you know, the original version is 30. But man, the drop in resolution and the drop in overall fidelity, I do not think is worth it. I do not think, I mean, I love the Switch version. I will sing the praises of the Switch version forevermore. Because they did an excellent job tuning it for the system. Truly excellent job. But it was a Switch game. You knew what to expect from it. You know, you bring it to these more powerful consoles, you expect something different, especially... Ow. Wow, that was some serious frame dropping. You know, you expect more, especially considering this game has already been on PS4. You know, and we knew it wasn't going to, but man, when you see it, it feels insulting. Considering I played through that entire game on PS4. And like it looks noticeably worse. Like the resolution is way lower, you know, on PS4 Pro even. You know, the resolution is way lower. The character models, lower polygon. Like it is a big disappointment. I think that they were not able to backport. If that's the term, I don't know. That stuff from the Switch back to the higher fidelity version of the game. I mean, it's a real shame because I don't. The new content is good, but I guess it's a bigger deal in Japan where the original PS4 version did not have.
Oh, you're talking about
acting.
the definitive edition, right?
On PS4 and Xbox. I didn't try the Xbox demo, but I tried the. I mean, 60 frames per second doesn't really do anything for Dragon Quest, like. So,
oh yeah, it's not important at all.
No,
like, it does not matter whatsoever.
So, it's really silly, I think. I mean, it's nice, but the resolution is like not very high. Like it's 1080p at best on PS4. It's whereas I mean the original PS4 version was not necessarily like the best checkerboard upscale of all time, but it looks quite crisp and clean. And I just did not think the image quality was that good. Again,
it's too bad
better than the Switch version technically, but the Switch version is impressive for a Switch game. This does not look impressive for a PS4 game.
Yeah, I mean, I did not feel that the Switch version looked bad at any point, and not only that, but I thought that it's just like a good game to be able to play handheld. Like I felt that way with all Dragon Quest games that I played.
Yeah.
Like I like playing them handheld because it's just I just feel like it works really well for those games specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like the format. I mean, especially if you're just like grinding, it's
sure
very, very convenient.
Sure.
Not that you really needed to grind it all in 11, but
well, in the end of Act 3, it wasn't a bad idea.
Well,
although
I don't know, like for me, I didn't really have.
You got everyone maxed out.
Yes,
Did you do that without grinding?
Well,
I guess you did a lot
without,
more side quests than I did.
Without knowing the secret to like beating the last boss, because it was once you know the secret to beating the last boss, it's super easy.
Yeah, but I didn't even try the last boss before I did some grinding. I didn't max everyone out though. I think I got to like 90 or something.
There's $4.99 from Joshua Helmicky saying, "For shame, Marc, turning your back on 60 FPS. How dare you?"
I mean,
my favorite part of one of the recent Digital Foundry's videos talking about the PS5 backwards compatibility is when John says, "You can play NAC at 60 FPS. It's great."
And Richard gives him a hard time for it. I mean, I'm a defender of NAC too. I think it's a fun little game that
it leaves you feeling knackered afterwards.
Well, to me it feels like, I've said before, it feels like a PS1 or PS2 era game. And there's something that I find so darn charming about the fact that one of Sony's big first party games to launch the PS4 with.
It's a fire nuke.
One of their big first party games is this game that feels like it's from 2 generations ago. Like there's something about that, the purity of that just makes me think, yeah, good on you, Sony. Good on you, Marc Cerny. You can stay stuck in the past, Marc Cerny. That's okay. I don't know. I liked that. I should finish NAC. I never finished NAC 2. I need to finish it on PS5, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we co-op some of that.
Yeah, and I think I played like...
It doesn't have online co-op, right? I don't think so.
No, I actually don't know.
Well, we'd have to get PS Plus to be able to do it.
I mean, I have PS Plus just because like I like the cloud saves. Like ever since my first PS3 died, like I've always kind of
I just get a little 32 gig flash drive.
Yeah, but you're so much more proactive about that kind of stuff than I am.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm a little obsessive about it, I guess. I do, you know, Order 1886. Like I have it, I should play it. Like I could probably beat it in like 2 days. It's supposed to be like 5 hours long. I bet maybe that's what I'll play on. It'll be the first game I play through.
I need to get that. I've always meant to. I mean, it's been super dirt cheap at times.
Yeah, Order 1886 is like 4 hours long, so maybe like a night. I mean, that sounds like exactly the kind of
great.
Yeah. Sounds like exactly the kind of thing I might be into. So maybe maybe I'll play that real quick.
This is probably a horrible idea. What am I doing? Trying to outrun everything. Okay, yeah, that was a mistake. Well, since I lost those souls, that might be. Is that enough? Oh yeah, look at my controller level after all that. I mean, it's a whole lot better than my PS4 controller would probably be at this point. Should I look over at what I've got on digital downloads if there's something we can play for just a few minutes?
Yeah. You know what I did
is look at all these. I've got a bunch of PS Plus games that I've never touched.
I got really confused when they announced that the store was going down on PC, and for some reason I had this vision in my head that it was going down on systems too. So I bought like several things that I had been putting off for a while. Like I just felt like it'd be a good idea to get the Rocket Knight game, like the full game.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I mean, I've got the demo. This is the demo. Why don't we play the demo for the Rocket Knight game that everyone forgets exists, and
sure.
Everyone says it's bad, but you know what? How
bad could it be?
I
when
played
was the last time you played it?
I mean,
Did you
several
play it before you played the.
I mean, I've never played through it. This is just the demo. I downloaded the demo.
I know, but I mean, have you played this demo like since you've played the other games?
Yes. I played it after. I mean, I didn't think it was horrible. I mean, it's 30 frames per second. It's 30 frames per second, which is not great for side scrollers. You know, I am not a frame rate snob, but I will admit for side scrollers, but like it didn't seem horrible. Everyone says it's horrible. But it didn't say horrible.
What's under bonus content?
I don't know.
You won't be able to see it, but I'm curious to see what would even be in there.
I mean, it is just a demo. Of course, demos for like download games were kind of different.
I wonder if it has any music from the originals.
I don't remember.
I mean, is it a straight up sequel or is it just like a reboot?
I think it might be a sequel. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it's got the music.
What music is it playing?
It's the level 1 first game music.
Huh.
So let's see. Shoulder buttons is a spin attack. Oh, circle also is. I can shoot with triangle. Oh, okay, it's gonna tell me what to do.
Maybe, I mean, This would be just like a fun thing to play through on stream.
Probably. Oh, okay, you kind of got a double jump. I mean... no, it's certainly not the smoothest running game or nothing, but, like, I don't know. Everyone seems offended by it, but I'm not offended by it. Like, I feel like the art style is, I don't know, I feel like it's a reasonable enough budget representation.
Yeah, I mean, this was very early. I mean, I feel like this was even pre, like, Bionic Commando Rearmed.
This is, well, the tile screen says, oh, okay. I see. The tile screen said 2010.
Oh, okay.
I don't know when Rearmed came out.
So there's no charge. You just press the button to be able to rock it.
Right, but you've got limited use of your abilities. You've got essentially got stamina.
I wonder if you can change your controls. I mean, putting the rocket on a shoulder button would be more.
Oh, it is on the shoulder button too if you want.
Oh, okay.
Like there are several buttons that do the same stuff. Like I just hit like that gun attack. Like that is triangle or L1.
WTRF 22 is saying, why do a lot of these reboots look like that dumb classmate trying to copy off your test? The art style looks like garbage.
I mean,
I think that this
hate
was like
this
done
art
at a
style.
time where like they weren't quite sure. Like a lot of developers weren't quite sure what the best way to do a sequel to like an old game.
Yeah, and two, like we were pretty early in like the digital download era. Like Xbox Live Arcade, I'm not sure what the size limits ended up being, but they had some pretty severe like size limits for a while.
Oh yeah, for the longest time it was like 100 meg at first.
So I mean, given the limitations, like I think at the time people should have, in a lot of cases they were, I think, just happy to get anything at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm just like super uncultured because this game does not offend me at all. Like I don't know. Everyone seems to think this is garbage. I know John hates it.
I don't have a big problem with it either.
I mean, but John like can't abide by inconsistent frame rates either. I'm an N64 kid. I grew up on bad frame rates.
Like worse than bad. I mean, if they were to do another one now, it certainly would not be done in this style, for sure.
Although I wouldn't be surprised for it to be 3D, but it would probably be more refined and a stable 60. Yeah.
But I feel like it would have like the art style would be a lot better.
I mean, I don't know why. I don't hate this art style. Apparently I'm supposed to, but I don't. What can I say? I don't hate it.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I hate it either. I just feel like there's not really much to it. Period.
No, but
it's just like
again, it's kind of shocking that it's
like many other games that came out at the time.
Yeah, but it's still shocking that this exists at all. But I've always kept this on my this demo on my PS3 ever since I downloaded it, just like so I don't forget that it exists, so that I actually buy it someday. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the Xbox version is a lot better. Although I don't think I would enjoy using the controller for it as much.
Rooster Blood.
I wonder if it's on backwards compatibility though. Actually, if it is, then it might be a pretty good choice on 360.
Rooster Blood is saying, have you heard something about the disc games that unpatched have 60 FPS on the PS5, like Assassin's Creed Unity and Last Guardian?
Well,
I
actually,
heard about the Last Guardian.
Well,
recently.
yeah, because you have to have that one unpatched to have access to the uncapped frame rate. But actually, on Digital Foundry, they showed.
But can't you just put the disc in and play it then? And it won't patch it with anything, or you just.
Well, if you take precautions to not get it patched, if you disconnect from the internet. But Assassin's Creed Unity also made, I think, a lot of other tweaks that made the game more playable. But it's kind of been long been one of Digital Foundry's like white whales, I guess, because the game was such an interesting situation, I guess.
Right.
But what was interesting was, they had an example where Sekiro and I think Hitman had hit 60 frames per second more consistently on PS5 than on Xbox Series X because of the lower target resolution on PS4 Pro. So the PS5 hit 60 easier. However, Assassin's Creed Unity was an exception to that, where the PS5 version was not that impressive in the frame rate department, whereas the Series X one was pretty much locked 60.
Well, thank God I'll never play Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yeah. But it is interesting though. I think they had a theory for why that was, but I forget what that theory was. Why that one was a situation where the PS5 version was not that impressive. The Xbox Series X was. Whereas it was the other way around in other situations. Evil Within 2 was another example where, it's got an optional frame rate cap removal. And the on PS5, it was smoother than Series X. However, I want to say that the resolution is a lot lower, if I recall, on the PS4 Pro version of Evil Within 2. I want to say it's it might even be 1080p. I think it's higher on Xbox Series X, but it looks like that one actually is pretty close to 60 most of the time. I don't think it'll bother me. I've already got the Xbox version of Evil Within 2, so that's when I finally get around to playing it. That's how I will do it.
Yeah.
Eric Schussler, next week we're going to actually stream on Tuesday and Thursday whenever the heck they arrive at my house. I'm hoping for earlier, but it could be later. It probably depends on whether it's delivered by Amazon or mail or UPS or FedEx. Amazon deliveries have tended to be in the morning.
Okay,
but
well, I'll be.
For me,
I'll jump on. I mean, I'll be doing other work, but I'll
Yeah, well,
jump on.
John might possibly be able to join depending on whether he's busy or not.
Yeah.
But
let's do it here. Let's do it here on YouTube now.
Oh yeah. We're not going to do it on Twitch. We're going to do it on here. I already made thumbnails for him.
Oh, okay.
I just don't want to. I didn't schedule them yet though because I don't know when it's going to arrive. I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be Tuesday and Thursday. I hope they'll arrive in the morning. If they do, then I'll eat lunch and start the stream.
That'll work. It's interesting, like how much slower this looks than, say, the flying part in the original game.
Oh yeah.
You're like really going faster in that.
Yeah, this is going for more of like a traditional like Gradius like pace.
Oh, we got $4.99 from Scotter140. Thank you. With no message.
Thank you. Oh, I think I've seen that avatar before.
Yeah. I say thanks. I wanted to thank you guys for making me aware of RGB. Started watching 3 or 4 years ago, and finally spent the money for an RGB setup. We got cables and OSSC. $550 worth of EverDrives in the mail.
Woo.
Woo! Dang.
Yikes. But you know, it's good times for.
Yeah, I really tried to relay that message at the very beginning of this recent EverDrive episode, where I say, you know, a lot of people, if they're just like kind of getting back into the hobby, that it's like the easiest thing to do and makes the most sense, especially with prices the way that they are.
Right, and
if you're just starting over, or like if you're just making a return.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of people, and another message you tried to convey was that, you know, a lot of people get mad when new versions of retro tech come out because they like to believe that what they bought is like the best forever. And it's like, well, your thing is still as good as the day you bought it. In fact, it's probably better because it's gotten a lot of frame rate update or firmware updates. You know?
Yeah.
So, and like you also said in the video, the main reason a lot of this even happened was because components using these devices, you know, reached end of life and they were not being manufactured anymore. So it was easier to continue manufacturing new units by design a new version that would have slightly different and hardware that why not take advantage of it for some new features. It doesn't make your old one bad though. I mean, it's still something you couldn't do with that console originally.
Right. Yep, that's absolutely true.
You know, there was one comment that was like, you know, I think it seems misleading that you weren't talking about, you know, these upgrades and rebrandings being because of this, and that, and I felt like I thought you clearly addressed everything that he thought was overlooked. I mean, you really made an effort, I thought, to be clear about why these exist, and people shouldn't feel this need to upgrade if, you know, this is
that was sort of the whole point of the video. It's like, let's look at all this stuff and see if there's anything that is worth.
Right. Because
makes it worth it for you.
Because that's what people want to know.
Yeah.
Or, you know, are they going to look at that and be like, you know what? Like, I might just buy someone's old, like, original version Mega EverDrive. You know, for way less money.
Yeah, Charlie Bailey is saying, this game doesn't seem offensive, just boring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's boring. I mean, it's not impressive, but I'm not bored by it. I mean, I don't know. I have a good enough time.
What is my favorite EverDrive? I think probably, I mean, not technically an EverDrive, but the SD-SNES is probably the best one.
I mean, if you didn't have a Mega SD, you'd probably say the
right.
The EverDrive. What's it called? I'm drawing a blank.
The Mega EverDrive Pro.
Mega EverDrive Pro, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sending you the Mega EverDrive Pro. I'm
excited.
The Mega SD for myself.
I'm excited to get it. And again, you know, I think that goes to show like the difference in priorities between the two devices. Like all the features that you care about on the Mega SD that the Mega EverDrive currently doesn't do as well. I don't care about any of that. But the fact that it used MD Fourier from the beginning, that is much more interesting to me than any of the other features on the Mega SD. So that's why the Mega EverDrive Pro, for me, that's why I'm happy you're saying me that one, because for me, that sounds like the one I would prefer anyway.
Yeah.
Because I don't really use, I'm just not that interested in a lot of those other features, because I
system I use it on that I use it on is the one that has Firebrand X's audio mod in it anyways. So it's already changed a little bit, like the double mega mod that he offered that has both. You can do like the Yamaha and the other sound chip. I got that switch for it. I can go back and forth. So even that is changing the audio a little bit anyways.
Oh man, Guillermo Sousa said, imagine this game being handed over to Playtonic Games to gain the same treatment as Impossible Lair. Oh, that would definitely be a surefire recipe for making a perfect Rocket Knight follow-up. By the way, this is so stupid, but like every single video game soundtrack I own is ripped to here. Every single one.
How much space do you have left on your hard drive in there? Holy crap.
Yeah, that's a lot. Some of those are not CDs, but the vast majority are CDs. It's on your system settings, isn't it?
Yeah.
System information. I've got 65 gigs free.
Out of how many?
465. It's I put an SSD in here when I put an SSD in here when I see like this ZREO, like I'm not even interested in that anymore. I should probably delete those. But that was just like some remix project of Zelda. Like, so not everything on here is a CD, but every CD I have is on here. Even
did I see some Ease soundtracks?
Yeah. I mean, I've never bought one like standalone, but I've a bunch of games have come with like a sampler CD or like a was it Celceta that came with like a pretty extensive like I want to say like three discs or something. They had like samples from like the whole like some selections from the whole series. Look at this Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's 9 hours and 40 minutes across.
Oh my god!
8 discs. Eight discs. Can you believe that? And like, unfortunately, for some reason, it can't get track information anymore. The PS3 can't. I don't know why. I just really like putting my music on here. I just like doing it.
Mr. Lopez, I barely even looked at the PS5 UI experience, to be honest. I just like wasn't paying super close attention because up until recently, I'd just resigned myself that I was not gonna get one. And now that I am, I kind of just like don't want to look because I want to be surprised by it. It's funny how that whole like being surprised by stuff has become very important to me, I guess.
And see, like, the PS3 has such a good visualizer, and it's also got like that other visualizer that Q Games made that I've used it in videos. I mean, it's a good thing for making some interesting backgrounds. Well, we got yeah. Well, you go ahead and read it.
There you go.
Oh.
$5 from Vanessa saying amazing EverDrive episodes. You guys are the best, and thank you for all you two do.
Well,
thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed the episode.
Oh, play around with FF7 MIDI and all the players. Interesting. Yeah, the PC MIDI is.
I still gotta watch that video you did with Smoke Monster. The MIDI video. The MIDI player.
A long time ago, I bothered putting album art on a lot of these, but as you can see, I used to like organize them like disc 1, disc 2, disc 3, disc 4, and I maybe like to go back and fix that. I don't know if I can really fix it easily without re-ripping. But like when you insert a disc, like it'll tell you, like you can tell it like this is disc 1 of 4 or whatever. So it'll automatically put them in the folder.
Right.
Like all in order. So like it's got, track 1 through 20 is disc 1, but then it starts again. I wish it had I don't know. It's so dumb that I do my music this way, but I don't know. I love the XMB. I love it. What can I say? Good old cross media bar.
It's amazing how many options it had.
I know. The smaller icons on PS5 almost feel like a return to this.
Oh, really? Like I said, I have not really looked at it very much.
Yeah. It's interesting. It looks more like this than the PS3 interface, or PS4 interface, I think. But yeah, I guess is that about going to do it?
I think that is.
All right. Well,
thanks to everybody who donated tonight and hung out. It was a lot of fun.
And we will see you all at if you're available
on Tuesday. Yeah, that's right.
In the afternoons, sometime on Tuesday and Thursday. Just gonna hang out, unbox, set up. There might be a lot of boring stuff, but the good thing is with the Xbox, I mean, let me show you. I already bought. This is the same Samsung SATA SSD and Sabrent SATA to USB adapter that Richard used in the Digital Foundry video, where he was comparing like load times on Xbox Series X, and I was just like, I'm going to go buy that, aren't I? I did, even though I promised myself I wasn't going to spend a lot of money in October, even though all these systems are coming. But I bought it because it's like, let's start the generation right. And I copied every single thing that I own that can be played on Xbox One. I copied every single thing to this. And you can plug this straight into a Series X and it works immediately. So the good news for Tuesday is I'm loaded up and ready to play. But I assume as soon as I plug this in, it's going to add to the queue like games that have Series X updates, which there's not going to be that many. Monster Boy, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, those have 120 hertz modes. I know that the Control Ultimate Edition patch is not going to be ready till next year. So, not going to be a whole lot of. I mean, obviously, I can't even stream 100. I mean, I guess I don't know if you can stream 120 hertz to YouTube, but I should be able to capture 120 hertz at 1080p. I mean, my TV can only do 1080p with 120 hertz anyway.
Right.
But at least I'll be able to test it on stream. But I guess if you want like live reaction of me seeing 120 hertz, I'm probably going to be unimpressed. I'm probably going to think it looks weird. It's going to look like a soap opera effect. You know what's super weird? You know, was it last week you were talking about Big Lebowski and you were saying I should rewatch it because it's on your Vudu. Well, I did.
Huh?
I did because you have it like the 4K version on your Vudu. I watched it one day this week.
You must not have liked it because he didn't say anything about it.
No, I enjoyed it. I didn't. You know, my favorite line. My favorite line is still one of the few that I remembered from the first time I watched it, which is, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love how just like it's so stupid. I mean, the whole thing is just so stupid. You know, he just like keeps getting further and further entrenched in this like really stupid plot.
Yeah, well, I mean that's
the whole point.
And he like really goes out of his way for the most part to like try to avoid it.
Yeah. But like what was weird about it, the reason I brought it up was for whatever reason, like I have played 4K HDR off of your Vudu before, but for whatever reason, like it was like on default settings when I load that movie off of your Vudu, and it like had motion interpolation on.
Weird.
Like I saw the Universal logo play out, and I'm like, okay, that looks weirdly smooth.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it's just the logo. But then no, once the movie started, it was like motion interpolated. And as I have so said in a video before, turn that crap off.
Yeah.
And I did, but it's so weird that like of all the things, like there must have been something about the format on that particular video that like it thought I had never set settings for that type of video before, I guess.
Yeah. You know what I think my favorite part of that movie is it's not even like a line or anything. I just love it when when they spread Donnie's ashes and it like all blows back out.
Yeah, that's the other big thing that I remembered from the first time I saw.
What was all that shit about Vietnam?
Donnie who loved bowling. That's like all they know about him.
Yeah.
He never like gets a word in.
Yep.
It's just shut up, Donnie.
I mean, that is really like what is. I feel that. I mean, do you feel that it was funnier this time than it was the first time you watched it?
Oh, sure, because I knew what to expect. I knew to expect kind of a movie about nothing, so to speak, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is like you discover like things that are funnier like every time.
Oh, sure.
Like new things.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean,
it's a movie that catches you so far off guard the first time you see it, you know, and it's just like you have to go into it understanding what you're going to get out of it to appreciate it, I think.
Yeah. When he like wakes up, when he gets like arrested or whatever, and He's like, I want my lawyer. And he's like, Ron Kubi. This lawyer who's like an actual guy.
Oh.
Like it's like I forgot what he says it for, but he calls him Ron Kubi. If you look him up, he's a real guy.
$5 from old JPEG. What time are you streaming Tuesday? My dirty undies, dude. The whiteys. I apologize for not doing a good John Goodman. We don't know. It just depends on when it is delivered to my house. If it's a direct Amazon delivery, those tend to be early. So if it comes, I'll do it probably early afternoon. If it's the mail, that tends to be like early afternoon, like 2 to 2:30 ish. If it's UPS and FedEx, like 50% of the time, it's like early evening. 50% of the time, it's early afternoon. It's hard to predict. I mean, I wanted to get them at Best Buy. That's what I wanted to do, so I could just pick it up in person, first thing. But I didn't get Best Buy. I got Amazon. So it's just what it is. It is what it is. We shall see. So it is 11:30. That's supposed to be our hard cutoff time. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching, and see you Tuesday and Thursday.